Hiro, welcome to the stream. You feel good? How's everyone doing? This fine day. Let's turn that down a little. There we go. F1. There we go. Yeah, fine. Whatever. So yeah, how are we all? How's it going? I woke up this morning feeling absolutely terrible. I felt like shit. And so I was like thinking I wouldn't be able to stream because of how much like shit I felt. But then I just I chilled out, you know? I was just like chilling in bed, watching some tubes. And then I just, rested and my body woke up a bit more and then I felt better and I was like, alright, I can probably act what? Okay, just dropped frames. No, but yeah, I woke up a bit chilled out. And then I felt better. So then I was like, I can stream, but for some reason I feel short of breath. So I don't know. Maybe I'm a bit sick. All this talking is it's very noticeable, at least to me, like in my throat and in my lungs. I'm short of breath more than usual. So just bear with me. I might have to go a bit slower or stop a bit more often than I usually do, just cause yeah, I don't know. I'm just short of breath for some reason today. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just at the start of some sickness. Who knows? I don't think I sound any different. Do I sound all Gucci? Do I sound Gucci to you guys? All good? You know? Hope so. I'm gonna make sure to keep my liquids. I wake up to the annoying din of my alarm clock. Its bright red numerals lighting up my face. It's the same alarm clock I had at home, one of the few remaining artifacts from my days before coming to Yamaku. I'd hoped that using it would help ease my transition into this new life. No such luck though. Groggily dragging myself out of bed, I wipe the sleep out of my eyes, then reach over to my desk, open a couple of bottles of medication strewn across it, and swallow a few pills dry. By now, the process is starting to become automatic, something I should be glad for given their purpose. This is the usual shit. Oh no, are we gonna see naked Kenji again? Feeling much more awake than before, I wander into the bathroom. God damn it, I think we are. While the shower warms up, my mind begins to wander as my new daily routine begins once again. The bright colors of the fireworks fill my mind, as do the two girls with whom I spent my time watching them. It feels strange to be moved so much by people I know so little about. Then again, I suppose these aren't normal circumstances. At least I have someone to talk to now, aside from my schoolmate next door. Oh, are we actually not? Why? This feels like such a random scene then. Well, the time left, the time left before school begins today waning, I begin to get ready for class. No naked Kenji, okay, good. Walking through the door into the classroom, I notice that I'm still somewhat early. I see. No naked Kenji God, very sad. I knew you would have some kind of comment. Walking through the door into the classroom, I notice that I'm still somewhat early. I see about 5 or 6 students milling around, most of them looking as if they'd rather be still in bed. It's at times like this that I appreciate being a morning person. That said, 2 students in particular seem just as perky as always. Hi Shizune, hi Misha. It's these 2. Whoa! Misha Drill Hair Misha. By the way, in between this stream and last stream, I went and I caught up on the sex scenes I hadn't read. So I read the Misha one because we did Misha out last time, and I did the. What else did I do? I did the first Rin one, the fingering Rin one, because I had never read that. I had only read the ending of the Rin one. Honestly, both pretty important ones. I feel like the Misha route, because you remember I finished the Misha route and I'm like, that's all feels kind of lacking, and I was like, everyone just kind of ends up sad, it doesn't have much, and yeah, obviously there were scenes I skipped over that were the same as the other route, but even then it was still a lot shorter than I was expecting it to be, and I feel like the sex scene really adds to that, because it's not a very tantalizing one. It's a very sad one where it's it's not a very comfortable situation. Both people seem to regret it. Misha just seems sad the whole time. And it's very weird, and I think it adds a lot of context to that route. So obviously I skipped them because Twitch is a Christian service, guys. But But yeah, I felt that was a pretty important one to the route's context. Same with the Rin one. The final Rin sex scene is not really important at all, but the first one, the fingering one, now that I've read it, very important actually, because it's still during the sex scene that Hisao says, I feel like this is when Rin truly broke herself and then reconstructed herself like she wanted to, and that's a whole thing about her route. And if you turn on off mature content, you just miss that dialogue, because that dialogue's on screen while it's still a dodgy CG. So you don't get to see that if you skip it, which is really weird. But yeah, so I feel like those 2 are actually really important ones, and yeah, I don't know. It's just weird how much stuff is hidden. I mean, I guess that's why the creator didn't want to put it on Steam or anything, because then it would have to be the censored version, and then you have to install the patch, which I mean is never hard, but I mean it's also not like I don't know. I was about to say it's not like he wanted money, but there are plenty of free stuff on Steam, so Steam's not all about making money. Like Doki Doki Literature Club's on Steam, but that's free still. Alright. Let's presume. I suddenly realized that my greeting would be lost on the former, so I quickly follow it up with a wave. She doesn't seem overly bothered. Or interested, for that matter. Because you're not on the shit in the route anymore. Hello, Hikchan, are you feeling well? I can only assume her greeting comes from Shizune. It's hard to tell if she's speaking as herself or Shizune sometimes. Better than most everyone else, I guess. You 2 seem bright and chipper. Misha sends this back to Shizune as I say it, eliciting a somewhat terse answer if her sharp and rapid arm movements are any indication. Considering that these 2 made such a big deal out of the festival preparations, I probably should have chosen my words more carefully. Since you're a new student, we've been cutting you some slack. Please don't expect this kind of task dodging to be allowed in the future. Oh right, because we're with Lilly now, and Shizune fucking hates Lilly. Right, of course. Misha looks as if she's about to add her own contentment, but quickly goes back to interpreting as Shizune continues unabated. Well, your contribution to Class 3-2's stall is appreciated. Huh? Word sure got around quick. That or these 2 have their fingers on the pulse of the school. Oh, Was that Act 1? Because I do... that must have been Act 1, and so I skipped over it this... Was it? Was it really Act 1? I would prefer your efforts to be focused on the task at hand, namely your own class. Yeah, that must have been Act 1 then. Where you go to... and I did it in the Hanako route, where you go to Hanako and Lilly's class and help them out. I thought that was an Act 2 thing. No, right, yeah, it's preparations for the festival, so it has to be Act 1. Huh. That felt like it was so much deeper into the development of the Hanako route. Interesting. Okay, yeah, alright. Yeah, of course they'd be pissed off. As much as I hate to admit it, they do have a point. Before I can respond though, Shizuna adds something more, which draws a smile from Misha. Did you enjoy the festival then? Lecture over, I guess. Yeah, it was good. Did you two enjoy it? Shizuna gives a short nod as Misha grins and bounces her head up and down. The contrast side by side is amusing. Out of the corner of my eye, I notice more students starting to trickle into the classroom. A quick glance at my watch confirms that they're a few minutes late. I look over to Hanako's seat and realize that she's already there and contentedly reading a book. It makes me wonder just how long she's been there without me noticing. With heavy footsteps... Oh, right. So this is... No, I guess, yeah. Okay, I was about to say this is the first route of someone who's not in the class, but no, Rin wasn't in our class either, so... with heavy footsteps coming up the hallway, signaling Muto's arrival, our idle talking comes to an end, and I take my seat next to Misha. As the door slides open, he strides through with a ponderous gait? Gait? I can't remember how to pronounce that word. I think it's gait? His posture is even worse than usual, and his eyes are barely staying open. I guess my quip to Lilly and Hanako about the staff was misplaced. Everyone opens their books as he reaches his desk, and the first class of the new week begins. I rub my eyes as the lunch bell rings out, glad for the temporary reprieve from work. I'm entirely unsurprised when I look over the door and see Lilly standing there, cane in hand, patiently waiting for Hanako. Considering her acceptance of my request to join them yesterday, I decide to spend my lunchtime with them rather than eat alone. Hanako moves surprisingly fast to meet her companion, and the two enter the hallway before I can catch up. Lily's head turns slightly, registering the sound of footsteps behind her. As Hanako notices and follows her lead, she almost jumps in surprise. Hisao? Hello, Hisao. Hi, sorry if I startled you. Lily turns to greet me, helped in her orientation by Hanako. Good afternoon, Hisao. Are you joining us? If it's no trouble, there's not much else to do, really. Lily gives a small nod as if to silently brush away any idea that it would be troubling in the least. We descend one set of stairs and walk down the hallway to the usual room. I pace somewhat quicker than usual thanks to Lily using Hanako for direction rather than her cane and the railings. As expected, it's deserted. The sound of the other clubs can only barely be heard as sunlight streams into the room from outside. Looking around the room, I notice a couple of empty easels propped up against the wall that I don't think were there before. The art club must use this room as extra storage. Should I get the chess set out? Chess! Cash in on that Twitch chess money. Hanako's voice seems less tense when she's directly addressing Lily. Yes, I'll make tea while you sort the pieces. I can do that for you if you'd like. She ponders the offer for a moment before smiling, confirming that I've made the right choice. Her face is remarkably easy to read. Very well, thank you. She slides her retracted cane into the handle of her bag and sits it against one of the table legs before taking a seat opposite Hanako. As I prepare tea for the three of us, I can hear the small wooden pieces being set on the board. I wonder how good Lily is at chess, given her circumstances. That would be... yeah, you'd have to visualize the board like, completely in your head and everything. And you'd have to like... oh man, I could not... I'd be fucking terrible if I was blind playing chess. wouldn't be able to keep track of all that shit in my head, including the opponent. Like, goddamn. Of course, there are people who can do that, but they're usually fucking geniuses. By the time I place the steaming teacup onto the table, Lilly and Hanako have already moved their first pieces as they nibble on sandwiches and rice balls from their respective bags. I notice that the chess building they're using has holes in the middle of each square and pegs on the bottom of the pieces, and has each dark square slightly raised. I see. Watching Lily's fingers scatter over the board, tracing out the positions of the pieces, makes me marvel a little at the simple ingenuity of the design. It must be specifically made for blind players. Interesting. I mean, I guess if you're allowed to feel... Yeah, okay, that actually makes sense, having the dark pieces be raised. I mean, tiles. And I guess, yeah, I guess if your opponent lets you feel the other pieces, yeah, that would be fine. I don't know why I thought you'd have to visualize everything. They'd probably still announce what moves they make to you, but yeah, if you're allowed to just feel where your opponent's pieces are, I guess you could. It'd be fine. Here you go. Hanako gives a small nod as they put down the cup next to her side of the board. Lily's hand ventures sideways slightly, so I gently place the cup, touching the tips of her fingers, a gesture she seems to appreciate. I finally take a seat and silently sip my tea as the two play. The contrast in their appearances while playing is interesting to watch. Hanako looks closely at the board, her face one of focused concentration. Lilly, on the other hand, keeps her hand level and maintains her calm neutrality. Lily's gentle voice addresses both of us as she continues to play. How was class? Now that the festival's over? I look to Hanako to see whether she'll enter first, but see that she's doing the same. Not great. Half the class seemed to be dozing off, even including the teacher, not to mention a test on top of all that. Damn. Test on the day after the festival? Hanako quietly adds her in agreement with this. I can imagine that being a bit difficult for you, being a transfer student. Well, I think I did fine, other than the shock of a test coming so early. Science is probably my best subject. How'd you do, Hanako? Me? Okay, I guess. Hanako's too sincere to be able to pull off lying very well, that much is obvious. Liz's smile slips very slightly from her reaction. Hanako mustn't be skilled enough at academics to do very well without preparation. How did your class handle it, Lilly? Went surprisingly well, actually. Only one student was absent, which was better than the teacher expected. Was it Kenji? With the topic all but run dry, the two concentrate on their chess game once more. It would be Kenji, right? He got hella drunk on whiskey at the manly picnic. I can't say I've ever liked the idea of chess as a spectator sport, but given its unique nature, for once I'm wrapped in watching the game unfold. Oh, I see. As time wears on, both of them demonstrate decent skill at playing the game, having captured 2 more... What? I hate the way that's written. Having captured 2 more pawns than Hanako, Lilly has the upper hand, but only slightly. What a horrible way to write that sentence. Until Hanako makes a strange move with her queen. Seizing upon this lapse in judgment, Lilly takes the piece with her knight. Without hesitation, Hanako moves a pawn to take Lily's rook on the other side of the board and promote it to queen. Lily's face falters as her fingers move over the piece, and she realizes that she just fell to Hanako's trap. It's a little distracting to have the board traced out after each move, even if it's out of necessity. Judging by Hanako's lack of reaction, she must be used to this. She and Lilly must have played at least a few games of chess against each other after all. Check. That's not bad at all. Nice, Hanako. The compliment causes her to flower into a surprised blush. Thank you. I didn't think it would work. Look over to Lilly, her fingers having just finished tracing out the position of her remaining pieces in an attempt to what? Extricate her king from this bind. Extricate? Fuck off. 2 more prawns? Did I say prawns? did I say prawns earlier? I meant prawns. God damn it. Prawns, dude. Whoops. A little bit of a slip there. Also, extricate? Fuck you. Fuck you, whoever wrote this. That's a dick thing to write. Oh, look at me. Word no one ever fucking uses. That's called bad writing, actually. Switch out the chessboard for a Christmas barbecue. Hell yeah. Let's go. Let's get some fucking Christmas prawns in here. Holy shit, it's fucking November. What am I gonna do? It's fucking November. God damn it. I'm gonna have to spend $1 bajillion on fucking Christmas gifts soon. Kill me. I think this is checkmate. Take another look at the board to confirm. Sure enough, our king has nowhere to escape without being threatened by another piece. My only other question as to which of them is better at this has just been answered. So it is. Lilly gives a small sigh as Hanako smiles. From their reaction, this seems like a fairly usual result. How long have you two been playing? Since I was young. Lilly nods at Hanako's brief answer. Hanako taught me how to play it soon after I met her. I can beat her every now and then, but that's a rarity. I don't seem to have the right mindset for it. If Lilly came to Yamako at the start of high school and met Hanako when she moved to the dorms, that'd mean she's only been playing for about 1 year. After seeing Hanako's level of play, I'm not too surprised that Lilly has trouble beating her. But she's better at languages than I am, so... Lilly gives an appreciative, if slightly amused, smile at Hanako's quick reversal of her compliment. Well, that's how it is. Much to everyone's surprise, the bell suddenly rings, heralding an end to the lunch break. That game lasted longer than I thought it did. Same, I guess we better get back to class. Hanako's already in the middle of packing up, so I take Lily's bag and offer it to her. To my surprise, she takes it and nods, but then places it back down on the table. So, may I make a request? Sure, go ahead. Would you mind if I were to quickly feel your face? Face feeling. Lily begins speaking in an excessively strong Scottish accent. But steel is heavier than feathers. What? What are you talking about? Did I miss something? Okay, I don't know what you're talking about. Would you mind if I were to quickly feel your face? Oh, no, go ahead, I don't mind. The question takes me severely off guard, but once I regain my composure, it seems sensible enough. So far, Lily's had no idea what I actually look like, and this would be her only way to find out. Face feeling. Face feeling. Lily raises her right hand, which I take in mine and guide to my face before letting go. The room is entirely silent as Lily moves over and around my features, from my chin to my cheeks to everywhere else. Everywhere else, so. I expected this to feel a lot more disquieting, than it does. I suppose that's because the action is entirely a matter of practicality, being functionally no different to simply looking at someone's face. Her hand is soft, but what takes me by surprise is the length of her fingers. Not to mention how sure even the slightest of her movements are. I have no doubts that her level of tactile feeling would be far beyond mine. Her hand briefly runs once from my hair before retreating I'm sure that every inch of my face has been committed to her memory. It's only now, too, that I realize Hanako has been silently watching the entire time. Thank you for letting me do that, Hasao. If I might add, I think you were quite handsome. Hasao's getting it. He's in, boys. I blush a little at her remark before raising a questioning eyebrow. But if you can't see how... Just because I can't see, that doesn't mean I don't have my own preferences. We'd better go now. Yeah, that's a good point. I guess we'll see you later then, Lilly. Walking through the hallways back to our classroom, I noticed that Hanako seems quieter than before, but also more comfortable. Lilly, a hand on Hanako's shoulder, seems to pick up on her assured pace as well, smiling as they walk. If I could spend the rest of my time at Yamaku like this, I don't think it'd be so bad. All that's needed for joy are small exchanges of happiness after all. As I reach my desk and set my bag beside it, I realize something, or rather my stomach does. I was so busy with those two, I forgot to buy lunch. I was thinking that. I was like, did Hasao even eat anything? It didn't seem like it. It just seems like he had tea. Or not even. Did he? Didn't he just make 2 tea? One for Lilly and one for Hanako? It seems like he didn't have anything. Saturday, my second most favorite day of the week. What's your most favorite? This is almost entirely due to the fact that it is the day with the second least amount of school, with class ending at the beginning of lunch. Oh, you have class on Sunday? I mean Saturday? Saturday, right? Yeah, Saturday? Weird. Open my door confidently, myself being more than, what? I opened my door confidently, myself being more than confident of being able to get enjoyment out of the fine weather and shorter class length. Fuck. God damn it, am I gonna hate this chapter? Because so far the writer for this fucking route sucks. That was a shitty sentence, what a fucking mess. I opened my door confidently, myself being more than confident? Oh god. Kill yourself. Please, actually. Ugh, what the fuck? What a horrible sentence. Ugh. As a writer, that makes me want to jump. I confidently stride down the hallway and down the stairs to the lobby of the male dorms. I confidently look behind me to see whose footsteps are approaching. I lose my confidence in this day being enjoyable. Kenji God! Hey man, sup? Not much, I guess. Just looking forward to the afternoon. You? Wraps an arm around my slumped shoulder far too comfortably. Something's up. Let's step outside, shall we? Eira struggles to read mildly unusual sentences en route. Well, here's the thing. It's not just an unusual sentence. It's a very poorly constructed one. Like, yes, it grammatically makes sense, but writing isn't about being grammatically correct. It's about clearly conveying an idea and what you're trying to say to someone else. That's what it's about. It's about conveying something to someone else through written words or spoken ones. If you're reading off something, it's about communication being clear, and something being clearly written makes you a better writer than something being complexly written. And so adding these extra bullshit complexities and throwing confidence in twice in a sentence like that, it's just bullshit is what it is. It feels like the author's trying to be, is pedantic the word? No. What's that word? Pretentious. That's the word. It feels pretentious. It feels like the author's like, ooh, I'm not gonna write the sentence just simply. I'm gonna write it complexly and use words that no one uses normally. Ooh, look at me. And it's like, fuck off. That doesn't make you a good writer. Writing something so that everyone understands it makes you a good writer. That's something that people who aren't professional writers don't get most of the time. Which has been it's a small problem in other routes. It came up here and there. But so far it's been the worst in this route. So I'm worried I'm going to hate it. Just because of that. But we'll see. Let's step outside, shall we? I was just about to, before you stopped me. He doesn't take my reaction into his theatrics well. Ignoring him, I walk outside and start down the steps. Furious glasses adjusting intensifies? What do you mean? You saying I'm being pretentious now? Doesn't take too long for him to catch up with me again. I wonder if he wants money or to rant about another conspiracy. Maybe both. Got a bone to pick with you. Oh, huh? It's about that blonde. You know what I'm talking about. Conspiracy it is. For a moment, I contemplate feigning ignorance, but realize this will go quicker if I just let him get it all out. Lilly, the one from your class. You're on a first name terms with her? You smell of feminists. He looks positively shocked at this development. Did he not expect me to be able to answer? Oh. Dropped frames. He gathers himself and coughs into his fist, dramatically, like everything he does. Oh, never mind that. I'm here to warn you, you know, man to man. Warn me about what? Lilly? Yeah, you don't know her, man. It's mostly true. I've only known her and Hanako for less than 2 weeks, and even then, we've just been exchanging banal chatter about school as we while away lunch. I'm pretty sure you don't either. That's not the point. You're the one spending inordinate amounts of time with her. It distresses me that someone like Kenji, who's probably as far out of the loop as one could possibly get, knows about such a trivial fact as who I choose to befriend. Then again, I am a transfer student, and she's not only the representative of their class, but also a tall blonde. Maybe you should appreciate this ranting as a warning that the rumor mill exists in the school and that I'm firmly within it. It's just lunch, nothing special. Look, man, under the bridge. See this bridge? You're under it. A man's gotta do what a man's gotta do to get intel. I just want to make sure you don't end up too far under the bridge. You're losing me, Kenji. That's okay, lots of people get lost. That's why I'm here to help. Just be careful around her, okay? She looks all harmless on the outside, but I've heard shit, bad shit. You know the student council, right? Seems to involuntarily shudder as he says the words. Putting him and Shizune together in a room is an amusing mental exercise. I wonder if they've met. They have, and he yelled at her about, what was it, badges, I think? Yeah, Shizune and Misha are in my class. I seem to have dodged the draft, though. Good man, good man. This blonde, she was there, in the student council. Right damn there. I see. And she's not there now. Seriously, think about it. Something must have gone down. Stop walking for a moment, giving the idea more thought than I probably should. It would explain that fight the two had, at least in part. Wait, no, not really. Even leaving the student council would need a catalyst. In the end, it doesn't explain much at all, other than the fact that their feud goes back some ways. I guess you have a point. I'm not seeing how that really affects me, though. Okay, now field this one. Lilly's foreign, obviously. Obviously. Now what nationality is she? I open my mouth to give the answer, but realize that I have none. In fact, I've given the matter very little thought. Given that she has no accent and acts perfectly Japanese, I suppose it never really seemed important. Now that he mentions it, though, I am rather curious. To be honest, I don't know. Maybe English? They like tea. Probably shouldn't resort to stereotypes, but that's the only lead I have. You're not thinking, luckily. You have me here to think for you. Gee, thanks. He brushes off the quip effortlessly. There. Now answer me this. Who has lots of social power, is filthy stinking rich? You know blondes are all rich, right? Has a long history of disputes and used to belong to a much larger organization. That'd be Russia, right? It's Russia, right? The Roman Catholic Church. Well, okay, there's that. But there's also the Mafia. Come on. Rich foreign? There's no way she doesn't have connections to them. Is he saying she's Italian? I have no reason to doubt the logic of his deduction, but he shows no sign of stopping. So do you know where I think she's from? Italy? Mainland Italy. Small time, dude. She has to be from Sicily. All those mafioso types come from there. Holy shit, what a fucking pool. That's really oddly specific. Wait, no, Russia. Oh shit, I called both of those. You're too easy to read, Kenji. I've got the download on Kenji. Russia, damn, this could be bad. The mafia there is serious businessman. Ex-KGB everywhere. Preliminaries, hardcore smuggling, and... Wait, stop. Just slow down a sec. What point are you trying to get at here? You don't know what she'll do, man. I won't get in your way. Agents don't operate like that. But I just want you to be careful. When the time comes, we need all the help we can get. I don't want to lose you, comrade. Well, at least he's concerned for me. Kinda. In his own way. I wave goodbye to him as we separate out to our respective classes, but I'm not sure that he sees the gesture. Dude, I fucking cold that. I cold that. I was like, Russia, surely. And then he starts talking about the mafia, and I'm like, wait, Italy? And then both come up. Italy, Sicily, or possibly Russia. But not mainland Italy. If it's Italy, it's not mainland. It's what did he say? Too small time. Piling my books into a bag, I catch a glimpse of the library books I'd borrowed last week. I might as well return them, considering they took all of 2 days to finish. Oh, he actually reads this route. He didn't read last route. Really consider inviting Hanako along to the library, but she's already gone. It'll probably be better for my studying if I'm alone anyway. With a quick stretch and a wave to a couple of classmates who give the same to me, I make my way out of the classroom. As I open my bag and shove the books through the return slot in the front counter, I notice a strange person behind the desk. Old and graying, she must be Yuko's replacement when she's working at the cafe. I begin looking for a free table, a task made somewhat difficult considering that despite there not being many students in here, they're all sitting at their own tables. Fucking bastards. That's the thing, man. You see someone you don't know sitting on a table and you're like, there's plenty of other seats. But you don't know that person, so you just kind of walk past and you let him have the table. Noticing a familiar head of hair, I walk over to one near the braille section. It's hard to tell whether Lily's concentrating hard or not, her placid expression holding perfectly still as her fingers slide across the dot-filled pages of her book. Hey, mind if I sit here? Oh, no problem at all. She trails off, evidently still focused on her business at hand. Ah, Sal. She gives a nod of greeting as I sit opposite her at the table, pluck a chemistry textbook out of my bag, and quickly thumb to the chapter we're covering in class. For a while, we sit there and read, each in our own way. Seeing her reminds me of what Kenji said this morning. Though, that and the fact that I've never seen someone read in Braille before make me keep throwing glances at her. Kind of feel guilty about it, given that she has no way to realize I'm doing so I decide to just ask her about it. Her lineage isn't exactly a state secret after all, and then there is another thing I've only just noticed from her movements. Hey Lily, mind if I ask a question? Not at all. Is anything wrong? I was just wondering, you're at least part foreign, right? She gives a small giggle before setting down her book. I've always been amused at how squeamish people are about that. Akira's mentioned how much she and I look different from most others before. The details are a bit complicated, but I'm half Japanese. Scottish, mate. Scottish. It's not exactly my first guess. It takes some effort to not blurt it out loud. Try to conjure images of the place in my mind. I think as far as the UK goes, Scotland isn't bad to live in, but I'm not really sure. Scotland isn't, is it? Yes, it is. I was thinking of Sweden. Scotland is part of the UK. It's up top, right? Or is it to the side? Might be to the side. My first guess of England was surprisingly close, at least geographically. That does leave another question though. But you have no accent. That's where the details begin. I was born and raised in Japan, despite my mother being foreign. I get it. Hold on. If she moved to the dorms simply due to Akira working longer hours, so they don't live near the school? She gives a small sigh, as if she didn't expect me to go any deeper. Was her previous frankness just a front? Not exactly. It's been a long time since we've actually met. I feel like I'm not getting the whole story, but I don't really want to go unduly prying into her situation. Her about face shows she feels kind of awkward about it. What? Oh, have you sent a YouTube video?
I've got a question for you. What's heavier, a kilogram of steel or a kilogram of feathers?
Kilogram of steel or kilogram of feathers?
That's right, it's a kilogram of steel because steel is heavier than feathers. What do you mean?
They're both a kilogram.
But steel's heavier than feathers.
I know, but they're both a kilogram.
What?
Oh, that's what that face is from? Wow, I've never watched this video, but I've seen that face.
It doesn't prove anything. Steel's heavier than feathers.
I know, but look, they're both a kilogram, right? So they're the same.
I only want to look at the size of this. That's cheating.
Oh, they're the same
No,
weight.
it's a kilogram.
But steel's heavier than feathers.
But steel's heavier than feathers.
Paul going to tell them?
They're right. They're both a kilogram.
Oh no, you are not.
What is it you don't get?
I'm joking.
You alright?
Don't get it.
Sorry.
Don't worry about it.
Looks so destroyed. Looks like he just had... Looks like he just got told his life is a lie. Did I read this? Her about face shows she feels kind of awkward about it. So, do you speak much English? To be honest, I don't know that much about Scotland, but at least I know that's the main language there. Takes her a moment to collect herself, appreciating the change in topic. That's right, my family mostly used Japanese around the house when I was young, but they made sure Akira and I knew our Scottish side just as well. I'm fluent in the language, but I'm also studying it in school to keep my skills up, and I have the qualifications on paper, mainly. So you're bilingual, that's pretty impressive. I wouldn't go that far. Having parents who can speak the language is a large advantage, and English books in Braille aren't too hard to buy or import, with Yuko's help at least. There's a relatively high demand for local English teachers here anyway, which also helps give me some motivation to learn it well. Oh right, they're in Japan. Indian bilingual. That is true though. There is a demand for English teachers in Japan, and they want white ones. Damn it, they don't want those fucking Japanese people that also just happen to know English. It's really weird, but for some reason a white English speaker with no qualifications is almost more impressive to them than a Japanese person with qualifications. At least in terms of teaching English. It's like, you gotta sell the authenticity. Look, it's a white guy. It's a white English teacher. Look how legit our school is. Demand for English teachers. For a moment, I wonder why she brought this up. Planning to be an English teacher? Is Lilly just a me, but girl? But grill? She gives an enthusiastic nod. Well, not, because I'm Australian, not Scottish, but... Misha also wanted to be a teacher. Must be nice having such a definitive future in mind. I've never really given much thought to mind, so I'm kind of envious. And you're not blind. I guess that part's true as well. I'm also I'm also not blind. That's right. that's probably the bigger point. Than I'm also not blonde. I have dark brown hair. I also don't have blue eyes. Honestly, I'm absolutely nothing like her. She just wants to be an English teacher in Japan, same as me. That's about it. That's about it. Must be not right. Hey, you guys ready for another route where we have to hear Hasao say he doesn't have any idea about his future 50 times? What's wrong? It's just, I could see you as a teacher pretty easily. It suits you. For a moment, she's speechless. She lowers her face a little and lets out a nervous giggle, something I've never seen her do before. With Lily's role as a class representative and her dependable nature, teaching does seem to be a line of work fitting her personality. Sorry, that was probably a little much. It is true, though. Look at Asao with the fucking smooth moves. The classic compliment and then, oh, is that too much? Just tell him the truth. That's a classic right there. All you guys out there, that's a classic. Go for the heavy compliment, and then, oh, sorry, was that too much? Just tell them the truth. But not to a random person, only someone you know. Don't be a creep. So I've been watching those foreign teacher AVs. God damn it. No. Waving her hand in front of her face dismissively, she quickly recovers. It's not that, it's just that only one person's ever said that to me before. My real boyfriend. See ya, Hasao. A short, somewhat awkward silence follows the discussion. Without knowing it, I ended up steering into a troublesome topic again. To try to cheer her up a little, it was me who went and got her brooding after all. Wanna go grab lunch at the cafeteria after this? Might perk her up a bit, or at least take her mind off her apparently complicated family situation. Going by her smile, it seems to have the intended effect. I appreciate the thought, but the food there... Quite a quick redirection of the conversation. She does have a point, though. The food there isn't the greatest. Maybe the Shanghai? We could ask Hanako if she wants to come as well. Ah. What is it? I almost forgot until you reminded me. Hanako's birthday is coming up soon, and I was going to go shopping in the city for a present tomorrow. Ooh. Is it gonna be the same? Is it gonna be just the same scene? I wonder. If that's an invitation, I'd be happy to accompany you. The ability to get more used to the layout of the city would probably be a good thing. I've barely set foot in there, but I'd be hopelessly lost by myself. She gives a nod, signaling that she happily approves of this plan for Sunday. We'll eventually get back to our books, though before I begin reading again, I still want to look a last glance at her. Maybe I've been thinking on my situation too much. After all, everybody here would have their own unique circumstances. The chance to get outside and clear my head will probably do me good. Hang on. Before we go on, I need to blow my nose. Enjoy the city. Oh good. That was so much. I was very shook of by the amount of shit in my nose. That was so much. I was really locked up in that. Also turned up the fan because it's pretty. It's getting a bit. It's warming up a bit, so you might hear it in the background. I'm not sure. I think it does change how I sound a little because of the air is very evidently hitting the mic, but no one's complained, so I don't think it's a big deal. Just letting you know. All right. Is this the same scene? Let's find out. It's not yet. Bored of standing in place and watching the television in a shop window, I pull myself away from the tacky display with little effort. After living at Yamaku, the city seems like an entirely different world. No running in the halls, calm and orderly conduct is to be used at all times in the classrooms. Students are to exit rooms after checking both directions for oncomers. Elevators are reserved for movement impaired students, single file on stairs. Eira continues to live in the equivalent of a sweaty otaku doujin shop. I really do. Honestly, just any otaku shop. It doesn't even have to be a doujin one. They're all pretty cramped. Compared to such strict, almost regimental standards, the city's shopping arcade might as well be a strange country. While the school may have its fair share of hustle and bustle during the festival, the outside world is much different. Also, look, that's just rooms. Come on. You have a room. I just know that when I went to your house, you were mainly playing like MS2 and stuff like outside of your room in like the main living area. Obviously, if I could play there, it wouldn't be as bad. But I'm in my room, which is like obviously, you know, a smaller space cut off. I have to cut it off. I can't have the door open or window. That'd be too much noise. So it's like, come on. I feel like this is just the standard of being in a small room or study-like place. And I just have a roof fan, instead of a quieter, like, aircon or something. Because you don't need one for a room this small. A roof fan is more than good enough, as long as it's not a shitty stand fan. I hate fans that are just, like, on a stand and all shitty. They suck. Roof fans are the way to go. It's strange having lived in a metropolitan city before my accident. This should feel more natural than Yamaku and the surrounding town ever could. Yet it feels foreign somehow. The elevated walkways and tall buildings, each adorned with billboards taller than any free people, didn't do anything to distract me from the passing crowd's reactions. Lilly keeps one hand on my shoulder, the other holding her cane, which taps the ground with a metronome-like steadiness. Looking over to her, that neutral smile of hers still holds. Why am I fucking up so much? Having only seen her in school uniform, I'd not have recognized her as she sat on a bench waiting for me to come, if not for her cane propped against it and her distinctive hair. Yeah, I was gonna say, her hair makes it pretty fucking obvious. I can't tell whether they're glancing at her due to her height, her foreign looks, her obvious blindness, or all three. Probably all three, if you're in Japan. A tall blonde girl that's blind? Yeah, that's gonna draw fucking attention. I'm just tall and white, and I draw fucking attention in Japan like nobody's business. Add in being blind and blonde? Gone. Gone. Not that any of them would make the situation any less uncomfortable than it is. Do you have any ideas of where to look first, Taseo? A soft voice breaks me out of my line of thought. Can't imagine that she's failing to notice the attention she garners, but she seems unfazed by it. Get the feeling she's the type to enjoy walking outside, so she might be used to it by now. Not really. This is my first time in this city, so I've got no idea of where to go. She furrows her brow in thought, planning a route for us to take, and come to think of it, a way to communicate it. Something I noticed in the time I'd been with her is how, when deep in thought, she lacks close to any form of body language to show it. Her expression may change, but not a hint of movement shows. She seems to be little in the way of sweeping physical gestures in general, though. So I've assumed it's part of her reserved nature. Yeah, I imagine that's also just part of being blind. I feel like you wouldn't get in throwing your hands around. Like, what if you hit someone or something, you know, that you don't notice because you're waving your hands around as you talk? Is there a large electronics store near here? Take a quick look around, mostly finding clothing stores. After a few seconds, I noticed a store with a bright blue sign some distance away that fits her description. Yeah, it's just a bit ahead of us. Should we go in that direction? Thankfully, it's just the information she needed. With a nod, we start off and head toward Lily's unknown destination, landmarks being our guide. Here you go, 1 vanilla, 1 chocolate. What a basic bitch. 1 vanilla, 1 chocolate, get the fuck out of here. Choc mint. Choc mint. Choc mint.
お姉ちゃん、お菓子買ってきたよ。やったぜ。一緒に食べよう。何買ってきたの？チョコミント？他にはチョコミント？他にはチョコミント？
Choc mint. Hand the money over the counter and take the cones in the railing that Lily's sitting on. I just realized that when I upload this to YouTube, it's gonna get blocked now, maybe. I think this song is copyright. I can't believe I let her trick me like that. She's not only led me to an ice cream stall, but also got me to buy her some. At least she gave me the money for hers. Yeah, but she got a basic flavor like vanilla or chocolate. I don't care which one got which, they're both basic. Sure enough, she's patiently waiting where I'd left her. I guess she was planning on making the day an event rather than a simple shopping trip. Dude, that's what you do. Going out with a friend and being like, let's just go see a movie or do one thing and go home is lame as. It's always way more funner to make it, like, make a day out of it, you know? Go out, maybe go window shopping or just actual shopping and, like, you know, eat lunch, go, like, see a movie, eat, like, dinner again out, and it's just like, yeah, make a day out of it. Even if it's just with a friend, not even a date. Make it a full thing. Call out to her and slowly place the vanilla cone in her outstretched hand. She got vanilla, the white bitch. No, be careful to make sure she has a good hold of it before letting go. At least her tastes are fairly normal. I was worried she asked for some weird flavor when she first asked. How dare you, Hisao? How dare you praise this kind of basic behavior? Choco mint, I think you mean toothpaste flavor. Hey, listen here, Toast. How dare you? Why do people think that? Why do people always say that about mint? They're like, ooh, toothpaste. How dare you? This is an exact this is an exact fucking conversation that happened in Uzaki-chan. Uzaki is eating like chocolate mint flavored chocolates and fucking what's his name starts saying it's like toothpaste. I didn't know you were one of these choco mint heretics, Toast, that claim it's toothpaste. How dare you? How dare you? How dare you take part in that fake news? It's good flavor. It's the best ice cream flavor, and it's a pretty good chocolate treat flavor in general. At least the tastes are fairly normal. I was worried she'd... Oh right, I already read that. Here's the change. It's okay, keep it. Profit. I moved to protest, but realized the futility of doing so over such a small amount. I slipped the coin into my pocket, supplementing my meager allowance ever so slightly. This is a bit different, because it's not exactly change, but it's about taking money. one time I was at my friend's house, and it was me, my friend, and my friend's girlfriend, and my friend's sister, and we were going to get I think it was pizza for dinner, and my friend's mom was like, "Oh, here, take this money to buy it," even though she wasn't getting any. And so because of that, my friend's girlfriend was like, "Oh no, I it's fine, we'll pay for it ourselves." And then she's like, "No, just take it." And she's like, "No, it's fine." And then she turns to me and she's like, "He'll take it, here." I was about to say my real name, but she said my real name and she was like, "Whoever will take it, here." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll take it." And I just take it. Everyone else is like, "Oh, no, please." I'm like, "No, yeah, Alex, you want to pay for it? Sure, why would I object to that?" Oh. Dropped frames again. Dropping a bit more than usual. We're at 0.3% dropped. That's more than usual. Lilly shows no sign of wanting to get up, so I take a seat beside her and start eating my own ice cream. The summer weather's nice. Hopefully it'll hold out for a while. You too? I'm beginning to think I'm the only person who prefers winter. Winter! Stay frosty! Winter wins. Winter is the best season. Are me and Lilly the same person, guys? I contemplate her statement for a long moment. Yeah, I think you might be. Draws the intended reaction. She's cute when she's pouting. No, I feel like most people prefer winter. At least in my experience. The majority prefer winter. Still, can't really imagine what's so good about winter. You can't go out without bundling up, and you still freeze anyway. I used to live further north, where there'd be plenty of snow to play in, so it's a little nostalgic. I don't like the heat very much either. Yeah, fuck the heat. Heat kills me, man. It drains my energy, and I just... bleh, can't do anything in heat. At least you can wear a skirt, so don't complain about that. Dude, I should just take up skirt wearing. She gives an amused giggle as we both get back to finishing off our already melting cones. Okay. Chocominto's over. Let's... get the music back. I just wanted to do that. All hail autumn, the best season. You know what? I don't have a problem with that. It's pretty rare for people to pick spring or autumn, but I feel like most people, if between those two, I think people prefer autumn, well, spring usually, or autumn. I don't know, I guess that's more of a half split between those two, for most people. But I can respect the autumn supremacy. Usually when people pick which month is their favorite, though, they're usually one of the big ones, which is, you know, summer or winter, obviously, but... I personally think winter's the best, but I can respect autumn. Autumn would easily be the second favorite season. It's got a good medium temperature, where it's like slightly cooler, but it's like not super cold. I think I just have a bit of a disdain for autumn, because I feel like autumn's very rainy in Australia. It might not be the case in other countries, but in Australia I feel like it's a really rainy season, and I don't like the rain. Though I do like it being cooler. Not too cold, not too hot, not too hay fever. That's true. That's true. Not too hay fever. Yes, the 4 seasons: cold, hot, hay fever, and just right. Yeah, no, autumn's a good season too, because it's like good temperatures, as you said, no hay fever. And it's more on the cooler side. Spring's more on the getting warmer side, and because of bullshit global warming, it usually becomes summer-like weather while we're still in spring. But autumn usually gets pretty cool without getting too cold. When it's not raining, it's good too, and I like the colors. I also just like how long the days are in autumn. They're like not as long as in summer, but they're like, and they're getting shorter, but they're like not as short as winter. It's a very good Goldilocks zone without the bullshit that comes with spring, like hay fever and magpies trying to kill you. I idly sit and watch the crowds going by as we eat, catching bits and pieces of conversation. Although spring wasn't that bad this season. Is it even over? It's summer now, right? In Australia. Apparently it starts in December. Well, spring hasn't been that bad so far. Probably because everyone has to stay inside anyway. No hay fever to worry about. Looking to Lilly, I see her dutifully licking her ice cream from the top downwards, blissfully unaware of the fact that it's beginning to melt. It's melting. Where? Down a bit. Oh, right, she wouldn't be able to see. She lowers her mouth from the tip of the cone, but has no idea exactly where the ice cream is dripping. What follows is a game of guiding her left and right until she finally finds it. To any onlooker, it must seem absolutely bizarre. A girl with her eyes closed, turning her cone over and over as a guy next to her gives instructions. A strange variant of childhood blindfold games, maybe. In good time, we finally finish our treats, and while away, the time conversing casually. And while away. I hate how he keeps using that. Got mid-sentence, Lily pokes her head in her trademark manner. It's an unmistakable sign that something's caught her attention. Ah, what is it? Is it Kira somewhere over there? I think I heard her. Raise an eyebrow and look in the direction she's facing, somewhat doubtful of her ability to pick out Akira's lone voice in the din. Sure enough, though, a blonde girl in a suit can be seen through the tiny gaps between people walking every which way. I raise a hand and wave, trying to catch her attention. Sato, hey Sato. She stops in her tracks and looks towards me, evidently noticing my call. As she does, I notice someone walking beside her. Can't get a good look at whoever it is, though, before the two begin walking towards where we are. As they reach us, Lily and I stand and dust ourselves off. Is frickin'... what's her name? Shizuna's little, brother gonna be here? Akira. Hey, you two. He is! Get down. She nods towards me, a gesture which I quickly return. My gaze shifts towards the young girl next to her, and our eyes meet. As they do, Akira pops her hand onto her head, a move which doesn't seem to faze her. I don't believe we've met. I'm Hideaki. Pleased to meet you, Sao. Guy's name, huh? Guess I just dodged a bullet there. He bows, somewhat restrained by Akira's hand being on his head. Oh, Hideaki's here too. Are you well? Akira's been taking very good care of me, thank you. Akira grins as if to affirm the point and rubs his head hard, dragging it around in a circular motion. His dreary face during this is somewhat amusing. Uncle's out on business again, so I'm just taking him around town for today. I'd have preferred to be spending the day on a date with my boyfriend, but... Suck shit, Raymood. She's already got a boyfriend. Hideaki gives a cough to try and redirect Akira's thoughts. As he does so, though, I find mine wondering. They're related? And further, as first cousins? Suppose that explains why she's taking care of him in any case. Come to think of it, Hideaki, how do you know my name? Akira told me. Being a Yamaku student, I suppose you're disabled in some way? Not everyone in Yamaku is disabled, but you are Hasao, technically. Would something like heart arrhythmia actually count? Having a physical or mental condition that limits their movement, senses, or activity. Yeah, you are disabled. Which I only learned a handful of days ago. I give silent thanks to Shizuna and Misha for their stream of information about how the school works. Because of them, I found out that since the school will accept practically anybody suffering from non-mental disabilities, it doesn't discriminate against healthy people either. It seems unlikely that many in good health would enroll there though. While the standard of education is pretty high, it's extremely isolated and very much focused on helping disabled students. Like Misha, who doesn't knowingly have anything wrong with her, but online people seem to think she has some mental disability. You're dodging the question. Damn, he's sharp. Before I can say another word though, he decides to take a stab at it himself. If I were to call it myself, your heart? Akira looks mildly curious at me, her interest piqued as well. Pequeed! Her interest pequeed as well. That sure was a lucky guess. How did you... Show no missing limbs or deformities, so external disabilities are out. Considering the lack of any strange mannerisms, it's also unlikely that you'd have any mental disability. Shamaku doesn't take mentally disabled students. Oh, it doesn't even take them? Interesting. I know. So maybe Misha wouldn't be then, right? If she's saying they outright don't take them. Leaving that aside, the only possibility left is that of internal disabilities. Didn't know which one we might bear, so I guessed correctly as it turns out. And your reaction confirms my guess. The disability is in his pants. What are you, Rin? I thought she might say that. Well, God damn it. Fucking Hideaki. I thought he was actually gonna say that because Rin did earlier. I was like, they're gonna redo that joke? But no, instead they went with the correct guess. Now Hideaki and Akira can know. More than a little bemused, I looked at Akira. She grins and shrugs, obviously taking some enjoyment out of her partner's deductions. He's sharp, yes, but more than a little unsympathetic. Logically, but lacking in tact. His attitude reminds me of Shizune, in a way, as do his looks. Interesting you say that, Hisao. May I ask why you're staring at me? Surely I'm not that unusual specimen. Does he not know how unusual he looks? I could overlook the spats and clothing as just being coincidental, but the ribbon in his hair really is too much. This is entirely beside the point, though. Sorry, you just remind me of someone. Could it be Shizune? Because they're the same person? Well, if he gets too sexually excited, he might die. It's basically strenuous exercise. Yeah. I mean, in pretty much every sex scene, he mentions how much his heart is, like, beating and out of his goddamn chest. It's like the Hulk. Can't get excited, because if his pulse goes up, he hulks out. Akira gives him a sharp jab with her elbow. Told you you're not that much different from her. He cuffs into his hand to try and maintain an upright and serious demeanor. I see you've met my sister then. Perhaps my full name might help you. I'm Hideaki Hakamichi. You were probably thinking of my sister, Shizune Hakamichi. Oh, so he's Shizune's brother. Wait a minute. If Hideaki's the son of Akira's uncle, and Shizune is his sister, does that mean that Lilly and Shizune's father are brothers-in-laws? Therefore, wait. Lilly and Shizune's fathers are brothers-in-law, therefore... Lilly and Shizune are first cousins? Holy shit, we never found this out in the Shizune route. Lilly groans in an uncharacteristically restrained manner. The reaction earns an amused smirk from her sister. The anonymity between the two just took on another meaning. I'd thought it simply a matter of difficulty of communication between the two, but a family feud makes things much more complicated. You can choose your friends, but you can't choose your family. She gives a half-hearted shrug. She mustn't give as much weight to the two's conflict as I do. Well, that's how it is. What are you two up to anyway on this fine day? Wait, so... She has... Was it her mother that was Japanese? Or was it the dad? Shit, I can't remember now. I think it was the dad was Japanese. So I guess his brother is, what, frickin' Jigoro? God damn. That doesn't seem to add up. Well, that's how it is. What are you two up to anyway on this fine day? Shopping for Hanuko's birthday present. The day will be coming up soon, so this is the last chance we'll have before school starts again for the week. I did wonder why earlier Akira said uncle. I thought she was just using uncle as, like, just a term. You know, sometimes you call people uncle that aren't actually uncles. So I thought it was that. I just thought it was that. I didn't realize they were actually going to drop that they're cousins. Because we never learned that in the Lilly route. I mean, Shizune route. Instead, it's tucked away here. I'm shopping for Hanuko's birthday present. The day will be coming up soon, so this is the last chance we'll have before school starts again for the week. Akira makes a strange face, as if Lilly had just said that the sky wasn't blue and the clouds not white. Isn't her birthday on the 10th next month? Yes, why? Is something wrong? Akira's face seems to collapse. It's an utterly unbefitting expression for someone so rowdy and headstrong. The folks didn't call you yet? As Lilly shakes her head cluelessly, I look at Hideaki to see if he knows anything about this. A simple shrug is his only answer. For a moment, Akira ponders what to do before smiling once again. The fact that she can hide her emotions so quickly and effectively is unsettling. Hey Shorty, sorry, could you hang with Sal for a while? She has to go away! She has to go back home during that time. Remember the Hanukkah route? He nods and waves her off, Akira placing an arm on Lily's shoulder as she guides her away and out of earshot. And so I'm alone with Shorty. Shouty. So, nice weather, isn't it? It seems so. I guess they dumped us. Indeed. What a farcical attempt at small talk. I've got no idea how to talk to this guy, and his robotic responses aren't helping. Blood and a stone come to mind. Without another word, he begins to rock on his feet in an obvious gesture of boredom with this discussion. He really is like a little kid, despite his serious demeanor. Suspecting the conversation over, I decide to accomplish what I came here to do in the first place. I'm gonna go for a search for a present. You coming? Not much else to do. Weird. In a little while, we come to a small shop beside a convenience store. For once, the store's window aren't filled with electronics and computer games, but dolls, stuffed bear, and all manners of wood-crafted oddities. Othello's Antiques. Antique store. Well, if there's anything in this town that'd suit Hanako, I guess it'd be here. Oh, I guess that's why he has a Sprite, because he also shows up in the Lilly route. I still find it weird that the store owner of this antique store gets a whole Sprite to himself. I reach for the old-looking door handle, but pull back in the last minute as I realize my companion's gone adrift. Not coming in? I'll just be in the newsstand for a while, don't mind me. His voice makes it painfully clear he has zero interest in what's in the store, and that he doesn't feel obligated to follow me. As he wanders off without another word, I push the thick wooden door and enter the store, a bell above me ringing out. The musty smell of old books and wooden shelves is distinctly anachronistic. I look at the counter beside the door. The graying man behind it sits there silently, reading a tattered book. Certainly fits the look of the place. Slowly wandering through the aisles, the person I'm reminded of as I inspect each handcrafted or imported oddity in turn isn't Hanako. Crouching down, I examine the ancient oak desk inside the shop window. These 30 dolls, all varying wildly in size and make. The only similarity between them is the long Victorian dresses they wear. I turn the price tag on one that looks to be about waist height. It's not in my price bracket at all. I do the same to each of them, getting more and more depressed as they get smaller and smaller in size. That is, until I reach the very smallest one. It's affordable, just, yet of quality make and with long auburn hair and a little blue dress. She said that it's the kind of present Hanako would appreciate, pretty looking and far from gaudy. After I carefully pick it up, I decide to keep looking all around the store. I'm not sure whether it's because I like the atmosphere or out of simple curiosity. Peeking around the corner before I go to the next aisle, I see that the shelves in this one are stocked with wooden toys, from toy cars to intricate automatons. Tucked behind a line of nutcrackers, I notice a little plain wooden box. It feels surprisingly light as I pick it up with my free hand. The lid only needs the smallest movement to pop open, the little metal drum inside beginning to rotate immediately. For seconds on end, I simply stand there listening to the palm-sized melody. As it plays, I take the tiny price tag in my fingers and bring it up to my face. The minuscule cursive writing taking some effort to read. It's affordable, sort of. Grimacing slightly, I close the lid and make my way to the counter with doll and music books in hand. When I lay the two on the counter, the man behind it sits up and takes stock of them. He doesn't hide very well his surprise at someone my age buying them. It's painful, but I hand over the money for the two and leave the store with a small opaque bag in hand. See, he didn't do fucking anything. What is it? Hideaki being there takes me by surprise. Oh, hi. I thought you'd be at the newsstand. Akira gave me a call. She's waiting for us at the fountain with Lilly. At least that solves the issue of trying to find them again. We head off back to the fountain. Hideaki's immaculate posture and presentation, despite his appearance, makes for a strange contrast even as we walk. Lilly and Akira stand there waiting for us, their faces hard to read. Hey, you ready to go, shorty? Hideaki's mood seems to improve as he rejoins her. See you, Lilly. Sao. Tell Hanako I said happy birthday. We will. Bye. Goodbye, Akira. And with that, the two disappear into the... What? What? What's that word? I've never seen that word. Again, bad writing to use uncommon words.
Fracas.
Fracas. You don't say the S. Interesting. I totally would have read it as fracas. Into the fracas of the afternoon city crowd. Turning to Lilly, I notice she's carrying a small bag. It's now that I realize why her disposition felt different from before. While Lily's typically the type to wear her emotions on her sleeve, her expression and tone are clouded and difficult to read. It's more than a little off-putting, but given the effort she's making to hide her emotions, I doubt she wants to be concerned on why she's feeling this way. Already bought Hanako a present? Yes, have you? Yeah. Shall we head back to the bus stop then? Okay. I'm surprised that it's a different gift. I thought he'd just get the chess set again. Although I guess he doesn't play it with her, so getting it for her in this route doesn't make much sense. Instead, he's getting her the dress that I guess was bought last time. But by Lilly, this time by Hisao, and then also a music box. Okay, there should be a bus back to Yamaku pretty soon. And with that, we begin to walk. It feels strange compared to before. Lily's hand on my forearm feels unusually tense, and the whole atmosphere is extraordinarily awkward. The silence continues for a long while. I really don't like seeing her like this. Hanako's birthday party is going to have to be held earlier. Is the 4th going to be alright for you? I have no other possible objections anyway, so I reflexively nod. Only afterwards do I remember that doing so is pointless, and quickly answer so by speech. She tries to collect herself, a task that looks almost pitiable in how plain it is to see how distinct her thoughts are. Distant her thoughts are. Sorry, Sai, you said the bus will be coming soon, right? That's right. But now that she says that, I have an idea. Actually, do you have anything to do later today? I don't believe so. Why do you ask? This is the point where I'd normally take your hand and rush you somewhere, but even without that, you'd have to trust me, okay? I take her hand and gently lead her on, her distant face replaced by one of mild surprise and curiosity. It's the restaurant that we went to with Hanako once. As the waitress sets the cup of... Actually, I think it was more than once, wasn't it? I don't know. As the waitress sets the cup of tea and a cup of coffee that I'd ordered onto the table, I thank her before she takes her leave. Truth be told, I really looked at and finding this cafe. I didn't really know where I was going. Rather, I was just looking for any cafe that looks relatively nice. Having managed to recover a little, Lilly tentatively sips at her cup as I take a long gulp of the coffee in front of me. As I hoped, her face lights up as she realizes what flavor it is. Ah, this is wonderful. So, how did you know that this was... I'd asked for French vanilla black tea, hedging my bets that it would be her favorite flavor, or at least the one she liked. While I don't really know much about tea, it sounded like the one she might appreciate. On the basis of her liking vanilla ice cream, a tea connoisseur, I am definitely not. It was a lucky guess. You really like tea, don't you? She puts her teacup down and gives a tiny nod, that familiar small smile thankfully perched on her face once again. Drinking tea is calming, I think. The amount you drink, are you sure you're not addicted to it? Caffeine addiction's pretty common nowadays. Did I ever say I wasn't? She lets out a giggle as my head drops. We all have our vices, I suppose, and there are worse things to be addicted to. Like heroin and meth. French vanilla black tea, huh? I'll have to remember that. For a while, we both silently drink. It's comforting to have someone like her nearby in such new surroundings, even if it's just the two of us sitting in silence. I begin to wonder if this feeling is the same for her until she sets down her cup. So, do you mind if I ask you a slightly odd question? It depends on the question, I guess. I was wondering what your favorite color is. Everyone has one, after all. I almost replied before realizing why the seemingly mundane question is actually quite strange. My favorite color, but... She gives a pouting look, wanting me to answer anyway. While the answer seems unavoidably wasted on her, there isn't any harm in giving it. Man, imagine how weird the concept of colors must be to you if you've been blind from birth. Like, that must be such a, like, strange concept. If I was at a thing for green, I'd say that's my favorite. Green, is it? What things do you think of when contemplating that color? I suppose grass fields and trees in summer. The army as well, with camouflage. What a weird thing to go to. Men always seem to like the military. That sounds like a nice color, a very nice color. She nods her head a little as if approving of the choice. Considering how foreign the concept of color is to her mind, labeling it by association seems reasonable enough. And for those who don't know, my favorite color is orange. And when I think of it, I think of the fruit orange. Mikan! If everyone has a favorite color, then what's yours? White. I'm told that's the color of snow and of ice cream. You know better than me then. If you only like the color because of a favorite food, I guess white is nice too though. And speaking of colors, it'll be getting dark soon. Let me help you up. Lilly offers her hand, which I take in mind to help lever her up from her seat at the table. Its softness compared to mine takes me off guard, and I'm really not used to such casual contact. It doesn't seem to bother her at all though. Well, it seems obvious why. It feels like just one more ladylike aspect to her. As her hand moves to her pocket, I quickly cut her off. Don't worry, I'll pay for this. Oh, thank you, Hisao. Didn't you say that the last gift was, like, just affordable and you bought two? You really gonna then go pay for this as well? Didn't you pay for something earlier too? No. You didn't pay for the ice cream. I guess that's fair then, but... She gives an earnest smile as a gesture, a reward much greater than that of her words. By the time we step off the bus, it's well and truly dark. We make our way up the hill in silence, both of us behaving a little awkwardly, probably because of the day's events. While I'm still concerned over Lily's withdrawn nature after meeting with her sister, the fact I managed to cheer her up even slightly feels like a personal victory. But it feels like the air between us has changed. Maybe it's only a bit, but it's something I don't think either of us realized before. That was a date, wasn't it? Dato! It was? That doesn't elude either of us. The question's answer being so self-evident as to be rhetorical. Awkward as it may be, I don't think this feeling is bad. In fact, quite the opposite. I don't know what it is, I certainly can't be sure, but it feels like something a little more than friendship. Understanding, empathy, searching for words to adequately describe it is difficult. Try dating. Just dating, straight up. Nevertheless, would you like to do this again sometime, Lilly, without shopping for presents? The tentative question is met with the same look from Lilly as before. Her pale skin makes the rosy tint of her cheeks just slightly more noticeable, and her face, though still pointing to the streets ahead of her, lowers just a little. Okay. He's in. Hisao's in. He made the big gesture. I walk down the hall of the girls' dormitories, my school bag in hand. A doll lies inside, carefully placed on top of a small box. I've been carrying the box in there for a while now, still not sure of what to do with it. So is it just that he also has this box? I guess maybe it's a gift for Lilly, and just the doll is a gift for Hanukkah? As in, the box is probably going to become a gift for Lily eventually. This whole situation, come to think of it, is bizarre. Well, I've known of Hanako's upcoming birthday party for a while now. I had no idea of exactly what the celebrations would be until I found a single note left in the abandoned tea room earlier today. I held it up and read it again, double-checking the instructions. The plain black handwrittens, fairly legible despite Lily's blindness, clearly thanks to considerable effort and care. Sal will be holding a party at my place. Please come at 6 o'clock to room 225 in the girls' dormitory. Sorry for notifying you this way, but I have class representative duties. Lily Satao. Sato? That's Sato. Why do I say Satao? What's wrong with me? I said Satao earlier, didn't I? What the fuck? It's Sato. Not reassured, I continue walking down the hallway. Until I reach Lily's dormitory room. I hesitate for a second, but eventually give 3 sharp taps on the door. A brief and muffled exchange of words can be heard from the other side. Listening closer, I can just pick out Hanako and Lily's voices. As they finish, Lily calls out, "Might that be Hisao?" "Yep, I got the note you left for me." "You can come in, the door is unlocked." Glad that I managed to get the right room, I press down on the handle and let myself in. As the door swings open, my greeting to them is stolen from my mouth. It's the pajama party. Pajamas. This time it won't be weird that Sal checks out Lily's breasts. Lily sits at a low table in the center of the room in her pajamas, while on the other side sits Hanako in a nightgown. Being dressed in only my normal school clothes, I feel quite out of place. I steal a quick glance at the lovely sight of the two, my eyes tearing themselves from Lily's thin and pale legs, only with a measure of reluctance. "Hi, I think I brought everything that was needed." She smiles and nods. I wonder if she's even aware of the pleasant sight she makes. The thin dark blue silk of her pajamas really suit her, accentuating both her eyes and her curves. The look of her last night, that tentative and almost shy demeanor, seems all but replaced by her coy nature. It's nice to see her confidence returning, though I can't help casting my mind back to how she looked back then. I look to Hanako, who nervously sits opposite her in her gown. It isn't a surprise that she'd wear something so conservative, though it definitely looks cute. "Hi Hanako, happy birthday." Thank you." She's unusually skittish, despite the fact that she's warmed up to me considerably over the weeks we've come to know each other. This is a pretty unusual situation, I guess. Feel free to take a seat, Hisao. I'll just pour you two some tea. Sure thing. Lily takes the steaming red teapot from the side of the table and gently pours its contents into her teacups as I take a seat beside her. Them, setting my bag against the nearby wall. With my senses returned and hormones somewhat calmer, I realize that this is the first time I've ever been in Lily's room. The first thing I notice is the ambient smell, just slightly different from that in mine. Probably faint perfume or nail polish. It could be anything of a girl's, really. Also, why in the Hanako route does he look down Lily's shirt and thinks hell yeah to himself and checks out her boobs, but in the Lily route, which is actually about being with Lily, he doesn't? This is such a weird thing to have in that route, and on this one I guess they're written by different people. But another is the plain nature of the room visually. Beige walls, a smart yet unadorned cabinet, the lack of posters or wall hangers. It's distinctly utilitarian, something I should have anticipated given her blindness. Lily Red Hisao is a Fi man. You know what? I respect it. He did check out our Fis. That's fair. I'm a Fi man myself. I respect it. Good Fis are the way to go. The only thing that really seems out of the ordinary is several piles of books sitting on the floor, each reaching from roughly knee-high to waist-height. Some of them have printed tiles, others are entirely blank, except for dots of braille. The fact that the ones with painted tiles are uniformly in English is interesting, though not completely unexpected. She didn't mention her parents' impressing language upon her in Akira after all. Your room looks nice, Lily. Hear a call of thanks from beside my shoulder, looking back to Hanako, her gaze is fixed on her lap, and her hands are nervously clutching her gown. It's now that I notice, with these clothes on, the extent of her scarring is far more visible, reaching down her neck and out the cover of her right shoulder. Considering this is a party for her, she doesn't really look like she's enjoying the experience now that I'm here. So how old are you turning? 18? Her look of surprise, not at all helped by a total lack of skill at hiding her feelings, shows that she was trying to mentally tune me out. This is really quite awkward. Yes. On the plus side, there's only 2 more years till you can drink. So who's older, you or Lily? Lily, she had her birthday in February. What about yours? Earlier this year, so it's already passed. That's not true. Well, it's true for me right now, but it wouldn't be true for the time of year that this is. Unstated is that it passed while I was stuck in the hospital. That was a particularly low point of the experience. Conversation with her dries up as quickly as expected. It isn't long before Lily's finished preparing our drinks, setting down the 3 teacups in front of us. Pick mine up immediately, noticing a much stronger aroma and taste than the tea we've been having. Huh? Tastes different than the tea we have in school. It's a different variety, rather than the kind we've been having there. You've never tasted orange shape pure before? Huh? How do I say that? Jaipur. City in the capital of Rajasthan, in northwest India, known as the Pink City because of its buildings of that color. Jaipur. Orange Jaipur before. Not that I can remember. I usually drink coffee after all, like when we were in town. This is nice though. As we said, god damn, this music's loud. As we settle down and sip, Hanako seems to become more relaxed, or at least a bit less tense about my presence. You'll finish our cups at about the same time, with Hanako failing rather badly at hiding her anticipation for the cake that's sitting on the side, begging to be eaten. Come to think of it, I'm feeling very eager myself. First things first, though. Lily? Yes, now is good. Each of us knowing exactly what the other means, I lean sideways and dig around in my bag for the doll I bought Hanako as Lily gets up and retrieves her gift. Hiding our gifts in our hands, we present them both on the table at the same time. Happy birthday. Oh yeah, I wonder what Lily got, because last time she got a doll that Hisao picked out, so Hanako silently sits looking at them for seconds on end out of sheer surprise. My little wooden doll, yeah, so that's different from the one that Lily got last time. Replete? What? A Victorian era dress and little hat lies next to a little brown and fluffy stuffed bear from Lily. So did Lily just get the same gift? She clutches at her gown as she moves to speak, not taking her eyes off the modest presents. Thank you, Lily and Hisao. Oh yeah, this one again. Her voice begins to crack as Lily reaches forward, wrapping her in a soft embrace. The sight of Hanako holding Lily so tightly is heartwarming, so much so that I couldn't wipe the smile off my face even if I wanted to. As Lily gently rests her face on Hanako's head, she speaks so quietly and softly that I can barely hear. Happy birthday, Hanako. Happy birthday. Hanako gives a small nod, holding onto Lily for a time before breaking off and wiping an eye. I guess that for Hanako, simply having someone, anyone, to be there and love her would be special. The fact that Lily and I can now share that role for her is something I think I will always be grateful for. Hanako gently takes the doll and teddy bear, holding them both to her chest as she warmly smiles. For a long time, all 3 of us simply sit in happy silence. The quiet is not broken until Lily's soft voice beckons. Shall we have the cake then? Proposal is met with 2 looks of unhidden anticipation. No argument for me. Okay. Phew, that was good. Who needs to, like, phew, after eating cake? Like, it's not that intense, Asao. I contentedly sit back, both Lilly and Hanako looking just as satisfied with the food as I. It took some effort, but we managed to finish off the cake in one go. I mean, I guess if he pushed himself to make sure that all 3 of them ate the whole cake, maybe? I don't know. He said with some effort. I don't think I could fit any more in. I think next time I'll buy a smaller cake. How big of a cake did you get that smaller is an option? Wouldn't you just get, like, the basic mud cake? Come on, everyone know the Woolworths mud cake. You know what I mean, right, Toast? You gotta know what I mean by the Woolworths mud cake. Everyone knows the Woolworths mud cake. Give me a fucking image of this. Yeah, look at this. This is a classic right here. It's not a true party until one of these bad boys comes out. This classic Woolworths mud cake. Let's just have that there for no fucking reason. I think next time I'll buy a small cake. Yeah, there's not many cakes smaller than that. Like, did you really get a cake bigger than that? Mmm, delicious. Hey, Jashel. It's a classic. A classic of life experience. I don't actually know if it's a classic in other countries. It's a classic in Australia. The Woolworths, and I think Coles will also sell them, actually. The most basic mud cake that everyone's had it as their birthday cake at least once. Like other cakes, it's like, you know, maybe you've had a cake like that, maybe you haven't. Everyone knows that goddamn cake, at least in Australia. I don't know if it's also common in other countries. Hanako and I give a chuckle, but I can't help noticing that come this time next year, we'll have graduated from Yomku. That fact is somewhat depressing, since I finally feel as if my life is starting to get back into some kind of order. Either looking around Lily's neat and orderly room, her books catch my eye once again. It's maybe a little... impetuous? But my curiosity gets the better of me. Besides, I don't think she'll mind in any case. Hey Lily, do you mind if I look at one of your books? You're quite welcome to, Hisao. That said, if you can overcome 2 language barriers, I will be quite impressed. Oh yeah, because it's not just Braille, but English Braille. 2? Braille and... oh right, English. She gives a nod. I knew you were studying English, but I'm still amazed that you are this proficient at it. One could say it's a perfect way to avoid people borrowing my collection. She says it in jest, but I'm a little disappointed. Having all these books around me with no way of reading them, it feels like one big tease. Hanako giggles quietly as I reach over the closet pile, plucking the topmost book out with only a cursory glance. Deaf on the Nile, in large letters on the cover, is the only printed text to be seen. I sit down for a while with the book open in my lap as Lily and Hanako talk. Try as I might, I feel out the dots of Braille printed on each page. They seem to blend into one another and become indistinct. At Thought this to be a lot easier than it actually is. With some practice though, I could see something with a better sense of touch than mine managing to read at a pretty fast speed. Noticing a silence that has probably begun earlier, I look up from the dotted pages to see Lilly smiling as Hanako sips another cup of tea. I feel like I'm gonna get rid of the cake now. It doesn't need to be there, but I just felt like bringing it up. Showing the classic cake. I feel like nowadays, at least for books, wouldn't like audiobooks just be better and more common? Audiobooks would be way more common than Braille books now, surely. Because not only can Braille only exist physically in terms of being practical to blind people, when blind, like, there are many computers that you can just set up to tell you every, like, bit of text that's on screen. You know how sometimes you might accidentally activate that, or just try it out for the heck of it, where, like, it reads everything that's on screen? Blind people, it's for blind people. Blind people use that to use computers. But, and so I feel like in that case, like, with everyone who has phones and stuff, I feel like it'd just be audiobooks would be better for most blind people nowadays. Because also they're super common, audiobooks, because not just blind people need them. Like, Braille's so specific to not a majority of people, but there are tons of people who just prefer audiobooks, even when they can see. So, and yeah, I feel like it'd be way more likely a book has a audiobook than it has a Braille edition nowadays. Plus, you don't have to go to the effort of making a physical Braille book. Is something wrong? Quite the opposite. Your curiosity is quite endearing. I am inordinately pleased by the praise, though I can feel my cheeks heating up a little. Thanks, but I don't know how else I could act. To be honest, I wasn't altogether sure of how you saw us, since you were a new transfer student from another school. If you'd pitied us, I would have been quite offended. There's a certain edge to Lily's voice, one that I'd quite possibly place as pride. Glancing over at Hanako, she seems even more subdued than usual, looking towards Lilly rather than me. Wouldn't worry about that. Considering the position I found myself in, I'm perhaps the last person that could be dispensing pity on others. My parents' first interaction with me after my heart attack, I wouldn't want anyone to see that kind of face. I catch myself from going any further, but not soon enough. Both of the girls seem to be put off, Lilly especially. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have gone that far. An awkward silence reigns for a few beats, thankfully ended as Lily's head perks up in a gesture I've come to easily recognize. Hear something? The door. Everyone looks towards it, trusting in Lily's senses. True enough, the door handle shudders and turns, a flash of yellow and black slipping through. The fucking music in this shake. It's Akira! She's here! Akira Sato is in the house. Is in the house. Happy birthday, Hanako. Oh, thank you. Akira, we haven't told her that... What's it? Hideaki said happy birthday. Is Akira gonna do it? Akira takes a seat at the table as she plops her tall bag beside her. She has a trademark, boisterous air about her, making no small deal of an entrance. Hanako clutches her gown to steady herself, but doesn't appear too shaken after she settles down. I guess she must have met Akira before, not a huge surprise given how close Akira and Lilly are. Akira doesn't seem to be the least bit put off by Hanako's scarring, despite its prominence, but she also doesn't pull any punches in how she acts, despite Hanako's shy nature. I thought you said you'd have to work, Akira. Did you manage to get off for a while? Kinda. I feel bad about ditching the guys doing overtime, so I gotta get back soon. But I felt bad about not coming to your cute little Hanako's birthday too. So for now I'm here. She grins wildly at Hanako, who flowers into a full blush as she bends her eyes downward toward her lap. Her mouth seems to widen and retract over and over, as if she was trying to suppress a smile out of embarrassment. It's a little strange how her reaction seems to be more immediate and forceful than when she's embarrassed by the way she looks. All she manages to give in return is a tiny nod, a failing to hide her appreciation to any great extent. Not that many people give her positive attention, I suppose. It makes me respect how well Akira can handle her, making her so happy compared to what little I could do. Now then, before I go, she reaches into the bag beside her and grandly displays its contents. It's alcohol. I come 2 large glass bottles, both with long French names on the labels. Anako's expression is an odd mixture of surprise and curiosity, and I suspect mine's no different. Lilly, not seeing the proceedings, is oblivious to what's going on. Akira, this isn't... What is it? Wine. 1 red, 1 white. Akira, that's... Relax, relax. It's not like Shizuna's here to scold you. Well, he has a point. That's not exactly allowed on campus. Or anywhere, really. We're still short of legal drinking age, remember? Yeah, it's fine. You're legal in Australia. If other countries consider 18 legal, it's fine. Rich words for someone practically drooling as he examines a bottle. She got me there. I am genuinely interested in trying some, even just a little. While Hanako may not be handling herself well, her look does tell me that she's far from opposed to the notion as well. Oh, by the way, guys, so I recently learned that at some point, possibly soon, and I mean there's still a possibility this won't even happen, but there's a possibility that at some point my mum will be going away for a week to another state for a sailing trip. So if that does happen, that means that she won't be here for a week, which means that there's also a high chance that then my brothers will take the chance to not be here. So if that does happen again, I'm thinking about doing a drunk stream 2.0, a second one. So I did when was the last drunk stream? God damn, I think it was it in April? Or May, maybe? April or May? Uh-oh. It might not happen, she might not get cold, and it still could be, I don't know, maybe even a month or something until she does get cold. But if she gets cold for this, she goes away for a week. If during one of those days, both of my brothers are not at the house for the day, night-ish, then I will do another drunk stream. But don't worry, it'll be the same as last time, a karaoke stream. Drunk karaoke stream 2.0 Electric Boogaloo. But if I do it, I'll make sure to control myself better. I'll keep myself more in check. The last one was a fucking disaster by the end of it, and I ruined my carpet with my vomit. And I almost died. I don't know if I ever mentioned it on stream, but I went to bed, like I ended up falling asleep on my bed, and then I woke up like with vomit on my sheets and shirt. And so I had been vomiting in my sleep, which is obviously really dangerous. And so if I had been lying down on my back, you can drown in your own vomit when drunk and die. Luckily I didn't. I was on my side, so it all just like came out and went on the bed. Thank God. But yeah, I'll keep myself in check a lot more. I realized the problem last time, and I know I can do it better this time. So that the stream is longer. Last time it was like an hour and 20 minutes or something. It'll be able to be longer. I'll be able to keep myself at a more reasonable drunk level, but then for a longer period of time, instead of just going insanely drunk way too fast, and thus the stream ends. But yeah, I want to do a second drunk stream so that I can do it better and do it in a more fun way where I'm actually just drunk doing karaoke the whole time and I don't go absolutely fucking insane. I had like a bottle and a half of wine in an hour. It was not a good not a good look. I'll do better this time. Just get drunk on the mood. Look, I can sustain it. Like if I get drunk once, I can then sustain acting that way on the atmosphere, on the mood. But there's no one else there. It's just a stream, so I'd have to get drunk first to then maintain it. But yeah, so it'll be a more reasonable drinking karaoke stream that I do plan to do in the future. Just letting you know that's in the works. It just depends on if I can get the house to myself. Because obviously, it's no fun to hear me scream singing songs all night while drunk. So I wouldn't do that to anyone else in the house. All our rooms are like right next to each other, so it really would be impossible to do it without the house being empty. Anyway, just a reminder, that's hopefully gonna happen. And it will be good this time, not a mess. Lilly rubs her forehead, giving up the fight that she knows Akira would win due to simply not caring enough about those funny rules and regulations. Just don't breathe a word of this to anyone at the school, please. I beg of you. I'm not stupid, don't worry. That's it, I gotta get back to work pretty soon. So soon? But you only just arrived. Sorry, Lilly. Good to see you two again, though. And you, Hisao. See you later, then. Goodbye, Akira. She levers herself up with a grunge and walks out of the room, leaving us alone with the 2 items on the table. Interesting. Lilly gives a nervous giggle at her sister's antics as Hanako takes a wine bottle. So, what do you think, Lilly? She rests her elbow on the table and pinches the bridge of her nose, thinking things through. She really doesn't seem to be able to keep up with her sister. Well, it's already here. We may as well have some. No sooner does she say it that I take a quick glance around the room for glasses. The small groan above me reminds me that Lilly retired to rest on her bed for a bit a few minutes ago. I was completely drained of energy. I managed to stand up and drag myself to the side of the bed, sitting down and leaning my back against it. Good God. Huh? Lily's groans sound lifeless. Too much to drink? My head hurts. Yeah, too much to drink. I rest my head back and idly stare at the ceiling. An unmitigated disaster. Like proper idiots, we all drank the night away with one glass after another. Hanako simply fell to the side asleep, and it's a miracle I didn't feel as ill as Lilly. Hey, Hisao. I'm sorry about today. I didn't think this would happen. It's fine, Lilly. To tell the truth, I had a lot of fun today. Really? I think Hanako did too. No, she certainly did. There's a short silence before another groan resounds from the spine, Lilly. You okay? As you said, I just drank too much. What's the time? The time? It's... Quickly look at my witch rust. Its numeral bearing legible in the gloom. About midnight. Curfew's in effect then. Which means he has to stay in her room. Yeah, I guess this much. We'll have to sleep here for tonight. As soon as I say it, I hear the sheets moving as Lilly starts to sit up. Hanako? No, go back to sleep. Don't try to get up. So, I have to... You're in a worse shape than me by any stretch. Get some rest. But what about... Grab her some spare blankets and put them over her, don't worry. As I give a deep yawn, I stand to retrieve them. I hear her lie back down with a soft thud. Thank you, Hisao. No problem. It's the least I can do. You look outright wasted. I'm not wasted, just a bit tired. She starts pouting, a slight slur beginning to distort her words as the alcohol takes hold of her again. I grab a couple of blankets rolled up at the end of her bed. Quietly walking over to Hanako, I carefully lay the blankets over her peacefully sleeping figure, making sure not to wake her up. The thick smell of alcohol coming off her breath makes me doubt she'd wake up no matter what I did, though. I stand and take one last measure of the room. 2 girls, both very drunk, and 1 guy sleeping overnight, with them in the female student dorms. What a scandal that'd be if it broke out, yeah, for sure. As I move to sit back down at the side of the bed, I still one last glance at Lilly. Her sprawling and disheveled figure lies resting peacefully, slightly turned to the side. I crouch down to get a better look. Sleeping Lilly CG. Her white skin blends in with the white pillow on the bed, a look of slumber-born peacefulness on her face. Usually she seems so confident and forward, always there and caring for Hanako. Now though, she seems painfully delicate. I think back to Hanako's presence. I thought it'd be a nice occasion for her, but I'd hardly expected it to be so moving. One birthday after another, year after year. Just she and Lilly all alone. I guess it wasn't just the presents she liked. Resigning myself to an uncomfortable sleep, I sit down on the side of the bed once again and rest my tired arms beside me. Hey, Hisao? Lily's voice is so quiet I can barely hear it. She must be on the verge of sleep. Yeah? Thank you. Thank you. For what? For being here. That's okay. As I hear a deep breath, it's obvious Lily's gone to sleep. After closing my eyes, it doesn't take long for slumber to take me as well. Hisao? Hisao, are you... The soft, barely audible voice lingers in my ears and slowly wakes me. I wish I could be awoken like this more often. With a mumble, I slowly open my... Whoa, what? Taken by surprise at the face hovering... taken by surprise at the face hovering curiously mere millimeters from mine, I make our heads collide with a harsh thud. The impact of our foreheads causes both of us to fall backwards and yelp in pain, Lily sounding more like a squeaky toy than a person. Ow, ow, ow. I slowly rub my forehead with one hand, supporting myself with the other. Lily lies a few feet ahead, doing just the same, her face obviously pained. Sorry, your face was kinda close and I acted on reflex. You okay? My head. It seems she's not actually okay. Come to think of it, I doubt that the impact alone is what causing her head so much pain. Yeah, no kidding. Hangover? You drank a fair bit last night. She silently nods in confirmation as I lever myself up. I offer a hand to her and... Oh, hey! Is she wearing no pants? Or are they just really short? Oh, they're just shorts, I see them now. It blended in with her shirt and I thought she was just wearing a long shirt. No, just shorts. I offer a hand to her and help her back onto her feet. Glancing behind her, I find that Hanako is still fast asleep. It's not fair. I only drank as much as you did. It's very different from what I remember. And anyway, girls have a lower tolerance than men. That doesn't help. Fine, I'll get you a glass of water. Just be careful not to trip over Hanako. Rub the sleep out of my eyes, or at least some of it, as I walk to the counter. Tending to someone with a hangover isn't the way I like to spend a morning. Then it takes a few seconds for the glass to fill, the clear water reflecting the sliver of light that makes it through the thin curtains. Looks like Lily's taking a seat on the side of the bed. I walk over to her while taking care to step over the peacefully sleeping Hanako and place the glass into her outstretched hands. Thank you. No problem. Take a seat next to her, the soft bed having a surprising amount of give. She drinks slowly and methodically, a long silence passes with only Hanako's soft breathing to be heard. With some measure of guilt, I look at Lily's face and attempt to read her expression. Her brow is furrowed and she looks to be lost in thought. I'm gonna take a short break. Not long at all. Just a few minutes as usual. To go to the toilet, stretch my legs. The usual. The usual. Ugh. And I'll be back in like, I don't know, a few minutes. Just gonna take a quick break. You can use this time to also take a break. Go to the toilet or something, whatever. And I'll be back in a few minutes. See you soon. Sorry there's no music. Hero. I'm back. Wait, yep, that one. Boop. Alright, for a moment I hesitate, but eventually place a hand on her shoulder in an attempt to reassure her. I didn't expect her to flinch rather noticeably at that, though. Sorry, I didn't mean to... Lily quickly shakes her head in a manner somewhat more violent than usual for her. She takes a long breath to steady herself before letting her head sink. It must look terrible right now. I moved to protest, but quickly realized that it would be futile to do so. That said, I want her to open up more. If you want to talk about anything, I'm here. Lily gives a self-deprecating snort, as if to mock her own emotions. Hang on a sec. I actually need to mute again. I think my wisdom tooth is... One of my wisdom teeth's really starting to push. I've never gotten any of my wisdom teeth removed. I've never had to. They only kind of poke out a little so far, or not at all. But my bottom left one's starting to push in a bit. I really don't want to go to the dentist, guys. I haven't been to the dentist in years. I'm talking like 6, maybe 7, possibly more years. Like, it's been long, and I have cavities, and they're gonna be angry at me. Oh no. I don't want to go to the fucking dentist. They're gonna be so pissed. He's gonna see like the cavities and be so pissed. I got cavities on like 3 or more of my teeth. It's pretty bad, but he's gonna be so pissed. They'd be so like just mortified. I keep them in check, but there's one that's pretty big on the right. It didn't used to be as big, and I do keep it in check, but it's just, it's slowly grown over time. I got one of my bottom teeth on the right, left, which is smaller. The one on the right's the biggest, and then there's one recently on the top right, like the way back of the top right. And I think there's holes on the back of my front teeth on top. Yeah, I think there's like holes on the back of them. It's hard to tell though. My teeth are horrible. I clean them, but there was a time when I didn't often enough, and they got ruined. But now I keep them in check. It's just that the cavities still exist. They don't go away. There's just a lot happening right now. Sorry for being so strange recently, especially back when we were in town. Even now I'm a bit confused about everything. Believe me, I know how that feels. She smiles wistfully, resting a cheek on the backs of her fingers. We're a couple of broken young fools, aren't we? Come on, don't say that. Come graduation, we'll be back out into the real world. The real world. Sometimes I surprise myself with the way I think about things. I guess the strange, divorced feeling of Yamaku and the surrounding town compared to the outside world still hasn't become natural. Maybe it never will. It's strange in hindsight. Being isolated from society like this doesn't feel as bad as it probably should. A wry grin on her face, Lily seems to share the same sense of amusement at the idea. Eventually, though, her smile drops. I'll be going back to Scotland for a week or 2 soon. Is that why we had to reschedule Hanukkah's birthday party? She gives an affirmative nod. You'll be able to see your family again at least. Looking forward to it. Haven't met my family in 6 years. I don't even know how to act around them anymore. Wait, what? My mouth hangs open as I try to process what she said. If she's 18, that means should have been only 12 when they left. I may have seen very little of my parents, what with them both working long hours, but that's... I feel utterly useless as I struggle to find some way to respond. But why? Why did they leave? Or why are they inviting Akari and me back? Both, I suppose. My father's business has its headquarters in Scotland, and an executive position became available for him there. In the end, he had to move permanently. My mother followed him, but Akira and I stayed in Japan for the sake of both Akira's job within the Japanese branch of my father's company and my education. As for the latter, one of my aunts is gravely sick. I'm sorry. Don't be. It feels strange, really. We're being surrounded there. What? Oh, we've been summoned there for her, yet we've barely met before. I can't even remember the sound of her voice. Equally strange is the total lack of antipathy? Is that entropathy? No. She feels towards her family for doing such a thing. I can't help feeling slightly humbled. That said, her wistful exterior is just hiding her emotions. Seeing her like this is depressing. Knowing what to do, I lift myself off the bed. Lee notices the bed's movements, her head perk up, and her hand reaching sideways to feel where I was. So? Walk over to my bag, still leaning against the wall, unbuckling the front flap and retrieving the opaque bag from within. Take the small plain box in my hands. Hold your hands out, Lily. She looks surprised for a moment, but eventually acquiesces. I'm amused by a look of curiosity when I place the music box into my open palms. Her typically delicate way of handling it makes it seem as if it were fragile enough to break if... What? Oh, if breathed on, I see. She wordlessly brings it to in front of her face, her slender fingers feeling out the contours and patterns. Eventually, her fingers find the recessed lines between the lid and the body of the box, and her thumb effortlessly pods open the lid. I take a seat on the bed next to her, watching her face silently and intentionally. She sits completely motionless as she listens to the diminutive, tiny melody, her mouth just slightly opened. It takes a long while before she closes the lid with a small snap, bringing the curtain down on the miniature performance playing in her hands. The smile on her face, gentle and wistful, shows that I made the right decision. Think of it as a going-away present for your trip to Scotland. I will. Restless shuffling can be heard from the floor in front of us, the sound having awoken Hanako. Is there gonna be like a time skip, or is this route just gonna be like super short? Like, I don't get it. Like, the Hanako route continued into when she was gone, so maybe, I don't know, will there be like a long distant act? Or will there be like a time skip to after she gets back? Because Hanako's route just continued for like quite a few days while she was gone. She climbs out of the blankets I put over, looking befuddled and wiping the sleep from her eyes. See, you're finally awake. Oh, you're finally up. Caught in that Imperial ambush. What? Hanako looks around the room with her eyes only half open, her mind far from being as awake as her body. Her dazed state makes me and Lily chuckle. As Lily gets off the bed and tends to Hanako, I take one last look around the room. It's weird for them to be at different points of the thing like this. It makes Lily look like a fucking giant. I guess I better get going, and then there'll be questions if I am seen leaving the girls' dormitories in the morning. Goodbye, Sao. Oh, goodbye. Stand and walk to the door, picking up my somewhat lighter bag along the way. After I leave the room and enter the hallway, though, I hear Lily's footsteps behind me. What's wrong? Without a word, she strides up to me. I freeze as I feel her hand slide onto my cheek, seemingly every nerve taking in the feeling of her fingers and palm upon it. Immediately after, her face slowly moves next to mine, a light, momentary touch of her lips brushing against my other cheek. For a moment, everything seems to stand still. I absentmindedly bring my fingers to my cheek, as if to try and recapture that fleeting feeling. Lily? That's my thank you, Hisao. Thank you. For your present. Have a nice day in school. He's getting some. And with that, she disappears behind her door and gently closes it. The muffled voices of her and Hanako are audible through it, much as they were yesterday night. I think it'd be hard-pressed not to have a nice day after that. I walk away with a certain spring in my step. I think there will There were some people around that glanced at me emerging from the girls' dormitory building, but I find it difficult to care. What would Kenji think, Sao? You went too deep under the bridge. Hick-chan? Go away. Hick-chan. Leave me alone. Come on, Hick-chan. Let me sleep. After 2 nights of not being able to sleep at all, the last thing I want is to be woken when I finally manage to. Maybe the last period of class with a textbook as my pillow, but I'll take whatever sleep I can get at this point. See, Hick-chan, even Shik-chan wants you to get up. I don't care what Shizune wants. Leave me alone. Jeez, Hick-chan, I'll just have to wake. Wait, Misha's going to. You. This is bad. I'm up. You don't have to. I can feel my face flooring with a scarlet red blush. Students still in class are sitting bolt upright and staring at the shouting fool who was sleeping just moments before. Damn it. Lim had smacked back down on the table with a noticeable thud. Wahahaha! I'm gonna win. Mrs. Trademark uncontrollable laughter reverberates through the classroom. As I turn my mournful eyes to the bespectacled Shizune beside me, she carefully adjusts her glasses, desperately trying to maintain a look of serious disapproval. Narrowing my eyes, I can see the badly hidden grin spreading across her face. Et tu, Shizune? Shizune looks away quickly as she crosses her arms tightly, barely on the edge of her control. Wahahaha! Misha's laughter doubles in volume as she glances at Shizune. All I can do is drag my hand down my face in resignation. You too. Who was the one who slept in class, Hick-chan? Yeah, it was me. Well, Shik-chan was having a fit trying to wake you up, weren't you? Moving my eyes back to the standoffish Shizune, who, with a single huff of confirmation, returns to looking away with her arms crossed. Why was Shizune trying to wake me up? Shik-chan wanted to give you the handouts the substitute teacher gave out while Hick-chan was sleeping. Handouts? Suddenly find 2 sheets of paper thrust in front of my face. Following the hand holding them, I see the still pouting figure looking down at me with a distant growl. I guess I really am in the wrong here. Sorry about that. No dice. Her irritated face still holds. I clasp my hand together and flick my head downward in an apology. Very, very sorry. She huffs and simply drops the papers on the desk. Damn. I look up over my hands to see Shizune and Misha signing frantically to each other. A look of frustration on Shizune's face. It looks to be less of a dialogue and more of a tirade, punctuated with sidelong glances at me. To say it's unsettling is an understatement. The two suddenly stop signing and look at me in unison, both having exactly the same look of disapproval. In one fluid motion, Misha's hand suddenly extends high above me and comes rocketing down. Before I can even hope to react, my head is set and bouncing up and down like a jack-in-the-box. I quickly bring my hands to my head, more out of reflex than actual pain. Ow, what was that for? Open my eyes and see the two grinning at each other while exchanging an enthusiastic thumbs up. Shik-chan says she forgives you now, Hick-chan. She give me with a little less force next time. Wahahaha. Look at the two with a blank face. Misha and Shizune. One, a sour nil. Oh, Shik-chan also says that you should check your student mail more often. She produces a bright yellow envelope and hands it over with an exuberant grin. Strange. Who could have written me a letter? Now is not the time and most definitely not the place to find out, though. Giving up on a nap so crudely stolen from me, I rub my forehead and slowly get up, putting the sheets and envelope in my bag before swinging it over my shoulder. Take a step back and move to depart with a small bow, while Misha clutches her sides laughing and Shizune nods back to a curt farewell. I join the flow of students exiting the open door and turn the corner into the hallway. Only to end up face to face with Hanako. Whoa, hey Hanako. Good afternoon, sir. Silence falls between us as busily chatting students pass us by. She's fidgeting constantly, her eyes drawn to her rather unremarkable footwear. Take the bridge of my nose and my fingers while I blink my eyes heavily in an attempt to make things seem clearer. I'm barely staying awake as it is. Hanako, you want to say something? What is it? I wanted to give you this. Hmm? She holds out a small rectangular piece of paper. I blink again to make out the text, though barely open eyes, slowly starting to make out what's written. Eggs 2, bread loaf 1, whole grain cereal 1, time 1. Shopping list? I look upwards, raising an eyebrow. I usually go shopping with Lilly, but I can't come, so... You want me to run errands for you? It's okay if you don't want to, I just thought that maybe, Just panicking, I sigh. Yet another battle lost, this time by a weakly surrender. This also happened in the Hanako route. Didn't it? It did, right? I remember going shopping with Lilly, or was that just the Act 1 scene I'm remembering? It might be an Act 1 thing I'm remembering. I smiled tiredly and rest a hand on her head to calm her down. It's fine, I was gonna go anyway. Just the stuff on this list? She nods then bows deeply twice, as if to make her gratitude perfectly clear. We are going to meet outside, the school gate's at 6. Thank you. I was going to get it, but I need to study for the test tomorrow. Test? Oh, that's right, science. How you doing with it? She brightens ever so slightly. I've been spending more time on it than before. I think I can do okay. Good work then. She too starts smiling, and much more earnestly than I at that. I have full confidence that I can do fine in it without any extra studying, but the fact that she's putting in the effort instead of just reading in the library is heartening. I'll grab your stuff and take it to your dorm in the evening. See ya. With a small wave, we part ways. I'll go do my homework before meeting Lilly. I should be able to take care of it in time. So studious, Hisao. Wrangling with a particularly complicated math problem has caused me to be a little bit late for my meeting with Lilly. He's wrestling math, wrestling the numbers. Hang on, I need to check something. Okay, only a couple of minutes, but enough to make me step smartly out into the courtyard and to the school gate. I make a right turn and start my way towards the small town below, leaving a few students turning the other way to the bus station. Slip my right hand into my pocket as I walk in the orange sunlight of dusk. Thankfully, the sweltering summer heat's starting to die down, making way for a pleasant cool breeze. I stretch my hands high above my head, a familiar figure takes form, cane in her right hand. Ah, Lilly. She stops and turns around, swerving her head slightly to try and work out exactly where the voice came from. Hey, it's me. Quickly catch up to her, coming in beside her and matching her slow pace as we resume walking. Good afternoon, Hisao. Hi there. Glance up at the sky. A distant tinge of orange discolors the clouds, washing the footpath in its light. Long shadows from the trees fall across the wide road down the hill. So, Hisao, what brings you here? Just going to town to grab some groceries. Hanako sent me. Hanako sent you? Yeah, she said she needed to study for a test tomorrow. I was going to come down anyway, so I'll just buy her stuff as well. Unspoken is that Lily really could use some help to get food, but it's an obvious fact that neither of us needs to state. It's good to hear she's studying for it. I felt the same thing when she asked me to come with you. We continue walking down the street, the familiar sound of her cane echoing through the air as we go. Except for the occasional passing car and the leaves whispering in the branches, there is blissful silence. Thank God I can finally relax for the first time today. Glance over at Lilly. That porcelain face of hers never seems to lack the air of relaxed confidence. I guess the same could be said of her personality too. As she slightly walks, her face remains pointed at the street ahead of her. I look ahead and savor the cool air blowing over my face. This is probably the calmest moment I've had since the about face my life took so recently. Oh, I see. To have it while walking to get some groceries, what a weird life. I feel the crumpled up note rubbing against my hands in my pocket and pull it out to check its contents. Let's see it. Eggs, bread, cereal, thyme, lettuce, shaved ham. Hey, those weren't on the list. Sounds like quite a bit to carry back along with your own. Yeah, just how much does this girl eat anyway? My mind suddenly clicks that yes, there actually is a person beside me. Wait, I mean... She laughs wholeheartedly. My, Sal. A giggle punctuate her words, though she's making little effort to suppress them. Quite direct today, aren't we? Yeah, you got me there. Still, it is quite a bit. Usually I go shopping with Hanako, so I know what she buys. It's the same thing every week. Huh? Is she a good cook? She gives a nervous giggle. It's usually me who ends up cooking. I used to do so for Akira, so it's no problem doing it for Hanako as well. Oof, the frames. You can cook, but a short hum of an amused lilt emanates from behind me. I wonder if the fact that she seems amused by my comments so often is actually genuine, or rather just from a want to make me more comfortable in addressing her blindness. There are ways around it. Some meals are more difficult to cook than others, because of being unable to see what I'm doing, but it usually only takes a little more time. Fingers can double as very useful measurement tools, for example. I feel like that'd be weird. I rely so much on sight when I'm cooking, like... That just doesn't seem right. I get, like, that just... Like, when I'm cutting things, like, yeah, like, it's all pretty much sight-based. If I have something simmering, like, how do you not know if the water's gonna spill over? You can't just stick your hand in, like, boiling water, you know? What if it's, like, billowing up? You just need to occasionally address that, but... I don't know. It doesn't seem like it'd be easy to cook anything. Makes sense, but she'd have to be pretty careful not to hurt herself. Yeah, seriously. Wonder how many times it's happened, given that it sounds like she's cooked alone for possibly years, while Akira worked and her parents were gone. With that, the conversation trails off. Compared to the awkward silences of Hanako, Lilly seems genuinely content to say what she thinks and stay quiet when there's nothing to say. The slick road under my feet is bathed in an orange glow, the occasional fallen leaf crunching underfoot as we walk. I let out a deep yawn, my lack of sleep coming back to haunt me. Did you not get much sleep last night? Couldn't sleep at all for the last 2 nights. Probably insomnia. Lizzie's face suddenly becomes worried. It feels like a personal failure every time she gets worried about my well-being, even if it's genuinely nice to know someone cares. You have insomnia? Aren't you gonna see the nurse about it? No, no real need. It's happened before a few times. My meds screw with my sleeping occasionally. I'm sorry. Come on, it's not your fault. At least I shouldn't have any trouble getting to sleep tonight. You do worry me sometimes. I worry you? Reach around and scratch the back of my neck. Kinda want to address this. Hey, Lilly. I don't mean to sound weird, but please try to forget about my heart condition. She looks kinda lost. I hardly blame her. I guess what I'm trying to get at is, just don't treat me differently because of it. She bows her head slightly, her white cheeks reddening almost imperceptibly. It's only natural to worry about those around you. Well, it's still nice to know there's someone like that out there. Maybe somewhat embarrassing to say, but it's the truth. Lilly takes a breath to regain her composure and manages a gentle smile, though her cheeks remain flushed. The final downhill walk to the store passes in silence. I get that feel. People find something out about you and then treat you differently for it. Most people don't with me, because mine's like one way you don't really need to most of the time. have autism, by the way, specifically Asperger's syndrome, which is on the autism spectrum. But I'm like, I'm very obviously not like, I think when most people think of autists, they think of someone a lot more incapable of functioning than I am, especially with speech. But so I guess I'm pretty lucky in that way, in that usually people don't treat me differently because they can't really know. But there are people that when they find out, it's like they treat me differently, and it's like, I think it's good for you to know about it, to, like, my friends, like, it's good that they, like, it's important that my friends and all that, like, know about it, and know I have it, and know it exists, so that they can consider it some of the time. But for the most part, I don't want anyone to treat me differently, or handicap me, or anything like that, or give me handouts, because I'm fine with just having to work harder to get to the same point as others. Like, it's fine, but I don't want it to hold me back, so I don't let it. But sometimes it does need to be taken into consideration and remembered, and so it's important for people to know, but it's like, hey, you don't treat me differently because of it. It's only in, you know, very specific circumstances it does need to be addressed. Like, obviously, if a sow fucking collapsed and started grabbing his chest, yeah, address it. You know, do something about it then. And that's just like me, you know, sometimes it's like, hey, just remember the autism, but most of the time it's like, don't treat me differently, don't consider it, I'm fine. So I really get that. I really get that vibe of like, hey, look, just don't worry about it so much. It's like if someone was like, hey, you want to come to a party? Oh, but, I mean, will you be okay? I mean, oh, I guess I'll try and make sure it's okay for you. I'd just be like, bro, just invite me to the party. I can go to a party. It's fine. I can handle it. It's not like I'm gonna freak out because there's a bunch of people there. I know how to act. I know how to act in those situations. I suppose I'll get my stuff first, and Hanukkah's on the second round. I grab 2 well-worn red baskets from the stack beside the entrance and pass one to Lilly. Just as she did before, she lays it on the ground and slides her retracted cane between the basket handles before picking it back up with her right hand. Yeah, I think I'm just remembering the Act 1 shopping when I talked about this earlier. When she takes hold of my arm in her own, I'm surprised at just how fast this kind of casual contact became so natural. Mostly due to necessity, no doubt. Yeah, I mean, when you're used to touching people's face, you know, fairly early on, I feel like, yeah, of course you'd be, like, of course blind people would be a lot more used to just casual, to physical contact. I sometimes wish the world were like that, you know? I get a lot out of physical contact, even just casual, like, hand around the shoulder, or, like, I don't know, resting near someone, even if they're, like, my friend. I don't know, that seems kind of like a thing only couples do, where, like, people lean on each other on a couch or something. But I like doing that with my friend, and there's only one friend who's ever let me do it in the past. Just a bit of face groping. Damn, it really doesn't sound so nice when you use the word groping, but I guess it is face groping. I guess that is an accurate way to describe it. But yeah, I sometimes wish people were more chill about, like, light physical contact. I feel like people only, like, handshake, you know, maybe a high five, but anything more than that, it's like, even if you're, like, good friends, I feel like people are really a lot more standoffish than just, like, casually kind of being near someone. Sure. When we navigate around the store, the odd person occasionally passing us pays us no heed at all. It's nice compared to the stares and whispers around the city. Oh, right, because, yeah, it's the town near Yamaku, so they know what's up. As we reach each aisle, I quickly check with Lilly what she needs and grab it along with what I want, putting our items into their respective baskets. It's an odd feeling to be depended on so much for something so basic as shopping. Aniko would be practically a necessity for her to pick out what she wants, after all. By the way, guys, if you don't know how to cook, it's all about learning with shopping. Go to the store, check the essentials like meat, egg, vegetables, stuff like that. Check like the essentials, see what's on sale, and then grab the things on sale and make a meal out of it. You might have to grab 1 or 2 things that aren't on sale, but just like see what's on sale, think what meal you could make with that, grab the stuff that's on special, and then, you know, just grab the few other things you need for that meal, and then just go home and look up a meal you can make with it and make it. That's how you live off cooking, because ordering made food is way too expensive to do all the time. And it's like, where do I start? And it's like, just grab the essentials that are on specials, look up a meal that you can make with them, grab the rest, and then follow the instructions. Imagine considering meat an essential. It technically isn't, but it is. I mean, most people eat way too much meat, but it's an essential. You should at least be having some meat. It's healthy to have meat sometimes. It's just very unhealthy to have too much. Which is the problem. Most people eat too much. That's the problem with it. Look, vegetarians have to compensate with, like, supplements and stuff, so that makes it an essential. It's an odd feeling to be dependent on so much. Also, potatoes, man. Eggs and potatoes, you can do so much with both of those. Eggs can be, like, 5 different meals, and so can potatoes. Like, potatoes can be so many different things. You can roast them, chop them up and cook them in something else. You can make chips out of them. You can make mashed potatoes. You can do all kinds of stuff with potatoes, man. They're like the best vegetable, easily. To be dependent on so much for something as basic as shopping, Hanako would be practically a necessity for her to pick out what she wants after all. Right, I'm pretty much done with both my stuff and Hanako's. You need anything else, Lilly? No, this should be everything. Off we go then. Oddly, there's a queue a mile long. Considering the store's only large enough to warrant 1 counter, seems like it'll take a while. Damn. Damn. What a shame. Lilly gives an inquisitive look, unable to see the reason for my complaint. The queue's really long. Look like we'll have to wait. How strange. Sharing the same mood of resignation, we reluctantly take our place at the end of the line. One person finishes, the line moves. A losing person finishes, the line moves up. Thank you, Hasao. We know how lines work. By the time we finally by the way, most meals are pretty easy to cook if you just follow the instructions. Like, it doesn't need to be perfect. Like, I feel like people who go to the restaurant too much and stuff and watch, like, cooking shows on TV are like, whoa, cooking's so hard. And it's like, yeah, but those places are trying to also work on, like, presentation and making it, like, really good. When you're just cooking for yourself, presentation doesn't matter because the taste will be the same. And secondly, it's not that hard to make it so it tastes good enough for a meal. Like, it's not that hard, honestly. People just have a bad perspective on cooking because they see restaurants and stuff on TV all the time that make them think it's, like, way harder than it is. By the time we reach the head of the line, I'm so close to dozing off that Lilly has to gently pat me on the back for me to move up. Hasao. Ah, sorry. She gives a short sigh of consternation? What? As I move up, getting the groceries for Hanako and me put into separate bags. Thank you, please come again. By the time we emerge from the store, Lily's holding a single bag where I struggle to carry 4. Both hands well and truly full. It's a lot of work, but thankfully the items in them are light. Even without looking skyward, it's obvious that a surprising amount of time passed, the road outside being dark and lit by street lamps. Once Lily retrieves her cane, we set out back to the dormitories the way we came, leaving the unwelcome warm glow of the store. Despite the road being empty of cars, the full bags abundantly make up for the lack of noise, constantly clunking and squeaking together. Yeah, they do that. Oh my, Hasao, it's good to find that you're eating well. I'm a growing guy after all. I need to eat all I can. It must be nice, being a man. What? Seemingly not notice or ignoring my surprise at the completely out of left field comment, she continues on without missing a beat. Weight doesn't really bother you when eating, most of the time. Get what you mean. Women tend to worry about stuff like that more than we do, I guess. Exactly. Makes me somewhat envious, to be honest. Well, it's not like we can outright ignore it. With an affirmative nod if we continue on our walk. I mean... I don't know. You kinda can. I feel like overweight guys tend to still get by a lot better than overweight girls. Huh? That's right. What is it? Hanako mentioned your birthday was earlier this year. Do anything special for it? She gives a long pause, lost in thought for a few seconds as she recalls the event. Not really. It's just Hanako and me having a little party during the night after school. Your birthday's supposed to be a big event, you know. I mean, it comes every year. Sounds like a pretty lonely way to spend a birthday, just her and Hanako staying overnight. It's honestly not that bad. I used to, like, even when kids were still, like, even when I was a kid, when most kids were still, like, having kid parties where you invite a bunch of friends, I was still, like, even before those really stopped, I had already, like, moved it down a scale to just, like, oh, I have 1 or 2 friends over, we, like, I don't know, we, like, go out and do something and then just go home and they spend the night. It's like I was already just down to, like, yeah, that's a perfectly fine way to spend a birthday. Birthdays always felt like oh yeah, I guess there's the family aspect. I do also then have a birthday with my family, but birthdays always felt like a family occasion to me. They were a time when, in spite of their full-time jobs, both my parents would make an effort to be there for the day, or at least for a party beforehand. Reminds me of how Lilly mentioned she hadn't seen her family in such a long time, and even ended up moving away from Akira's house afterwards. But I guess it's the same in situations as mundane as these. Considering her inability to read the packaging, just getting groceries would be a pain without somebody else around. In the end, she just has Hanako and me, and Akira when she's off from work. Be that as it may, she still seems to have many more distinct friends among the students, not to mention people like Yuko. It seems to be her own choice that there's such a separation between those who are close to her and those who she only socializes with. Humbles me a little to see how much Lilly seems to have her life set up and going just as she wants. Yet Hanako is there for her to celebrate her birthday, and I'm here helping her with shopping. It's a weird kind of symbiosis, I suppose. Are you alright, Hasao? Sorry. You just seem to go very quiet, that's all. Sorry, I was just thinking. Oh. Now I've bequeathed her interest. Feels kind of overly personal to talk about, though. Avoid the subject, tell the truth. God damn it. This feels like it would be an important choice. Like a split choice, but we're in Act 2. I feel like it's rare to see those in Act 2. Well, I think I'll end the stream here. Just around 3 hours. I'm starting to feel the strain of my voice. I'm just glad I did better than 2 hours. I was still feeling good and like I could go at 2 hours, so glad I put out a 3-hour one for a visual novel. Even though I had no trouble doing longer with Song of Saya. Anyway, so I'll end the stream here. Thank you everyone who was watching. If you're not following, feel free to follow. If you are following, again, thank you for following and watching. Sorry if you watch often and always have to hear me ask for follows. Maybe all of my viewers are already following. Who even knows? But I gotta say it just in case. Typical smash that subscribe button bullshit, you know? So I'll see you all next time. I decided that the weekend stream will be on Sunday, so 2 days. I have too much housework to do on Saturday. So on Sunday, I will do a Xenoblade Chronicles stream. So if you watch everything I do, I'll see you in 2 days for Xenoblade Chronicles. If you are only here for Katawa Shoujo, then I will see you in 3 days. Monday for me, which is when I will resume playing the Lilly route. Thanks everybody for stopping by. You all stay frosty and enjoy the rest of your day, night. Have a fantastic day, week, month, life.